I thought the Rush ending was fun. Hey, gang.
How's everybody
things are better considerably. Let's hope they stay that way. Because I want to thank everybody for joining me last night for Dirk Weekdays, and I apologize for the technical problems. It's just, sometimes computers get mad at you, and mine was definitely not happy. I think I fixed it, but in the long run, they might be a different fix, but you won't know about it. It'll just look better and sound better. And I changed my background because I just thought, why not? How's everybody tonight?
WJ74 goes, tray table is up. I don't know how hard we're going to go this evening, but I do want to talk about what's going on in the world. Elon Musk agrees that Conor McGregor should run for office. Well, between the two of them, they can be the Thicky twins. I hate both of them.
I hate both of them. I mean, I think he's getting a little bit too much blame for a kind of innocent tweet. It's not like he was paraphrasing.
Who are you talking
Conor
about?
McGregor.
Conor McGregor. I was just mentioning Elon Musk. That's why I was confused.
And McGregor should run for office. Yeah. I mean, this is where people get divided on things, but there's fantasy and then there's reality. And fantasy is, let's all hold hands and let's all frolic through the meadow. And let's just hope that one of us doesn't stab our kids. I mean,
well, sure. Well, McGregor's in hot water now.
Yeah.
Because he's, we are at war.
Did he say that?
Yes.
Oh, I read the tweet.
Research.
I did. I went online.
He says he made several, or he
made
at least 3.
Can we pull some of them up?
Yeah, I'm going to pull them up now. We are at war was one of them. Come on, you fuck. Tell you who's at war. I'm at war with you, you little dick.
I've always hated that cunt. I hate him. He's a knacker supreme. He is. Yeah, he is a dirty, dirty knacker. He's just He's the guy you see outside, like St. James Gate,
street trash.
Who wants to stick you for a punt. Give me your punt. Give it to me. He just lucked out. He's one of the guys that was picked from obscurity. And
no, he trained very hard. He's a good fighter.
No, don't get me wrong. He's a great fighter, but
he's a great fighter, and he's great in the ring. And he's a hero for a lot of people because they like to see the Irish fight the Puerto Ricans and the Brazilians and the Americans and the anyone else. And he flies the flag. He's a jingoist. He's beyond a patriot. He's a jingoist.
Yeah.
And, people, they fucking lap that shit up, and that's fine. But the guy, to me, the problem is this, right? I mean, look at these certain figures. Like, look at Muhammad Ali. That guy was articulate. He was incredible. He was insightful. It was almost like the boxing was the least interesting thing about the man. He was quite convincing. And he was a great orator. He had a wonderful command over the English language. This thing.
Yeah, he doesn't know
barely
poetry.
String a sentence together, barely. And if you're a fan, guys, of Conor McGregor and it offends you, all of this stuff, you probably should turn off now. But mind you, if you want to say something in the chat to kind of back up, maybe tell us something great about this man. Does he do any great stuff? Does he run charities? He has a lot of money, so I imagine he does give some money to charities, right? Is it just young white Irish kids that he's interested in helping?
I'll tell you what he doesn't do. He doesn't fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yeah.
He has zero eloquence to him. He's just the guy you got into the fight. You got your arse fucking laid on the pavement.
Thanks, Irish Independent. They're pulling a New York Times on me and putting behind a paywall there, everything.
Yay.
Dublin riots exposed. Here, this might be better. See if this is better. Expose Conor McGregor's role in stoking anti-migrant hate. Now, listen, I'm all about free speech. So you can say pretty much anything. I mean, calling for violence, I think, is probably the very end of that right. You're kind of getting onto the perimeter of being violent yourself.
Well, inciting violence is is the origin of violence. So, I mean,
yeah,
you
I mean, it's the
incited.
yelling fire in a crowded
Yeah,
theater argument, right? You should be
sure.
allowed to speak your mind. However, if you go into a crowded theater and you yell fire and people trample over one another, you've been irresponsible with your free speech. And this is where all the conversations begin about how free can speech be. I'm pretty staunch on that subject, even if people have shitty things to say. We've mentioned Alex Jones on this show maybe over a year ago. The guy's a maniac, but I still believe in his right to speak. Elon Musk, of course, did too, and in Donald Trump's right to speak, and that's why he went in and bought Twitter, or it was one of the many reasons he bought Twitter. And of course, now you can't say from the river to the sea on that platform, or you'll get banned.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Hypocrite.
Like he even understands what that actually is, because there are two interpretations. One, the Zionist interpretation is, what do you mean? You want to get rid of us? And it's like, no, we just want freedom. We want to be allowed to walk anywhere we'd like between that river and that sea. We don't fucking want to hurt you. We don't want to do anything to you, but we don't have that freedom. That's the whole point. But people are getting it totally wrong. And they're like, you see, this bullshit. Anyway, let me see if I can find the actual tweets here.
The X's, you mean?
The X's, yeah.
It just doesn't. It sounds like a great idea. We're gonna call it X. Okay, X is a great looking, great character. It looks cool, but it just doesn't flow.
It's already, he's established a huge name. Why change it? I went through enough teething pains when I changed my channel name, and I'm fucking no one. I mean, you change it's like U2 deciding to change their band name now.
What would they change? What would they change it to?
The Gain.
The Gain.
That's an inside joke.
Did you like? No, did you not hear the show last night?
I did.
McGregor
blamed the Irish government for the murder of a since deleted post on Twitter, stating, "Shame on the Irish government for harboring this." Okay, the Irish government makes me ashamed to be Irish, McGregor added. We are appalled with you all. You can fix this, no problem. It is a war then, and God is with us. Listen to this fucking...
that's just...
Was he never smacked over the head as a child like all of the rest of us Irish kids?
A lot. Too much.
Maybe too much. Yeah. The night before Thursday's violence, McGregor posted, "Ireland, we are at war."
Oh, that's good.
In the wake of the riots, he wrote, "We are not backing down. We are only warming up." Oh, for fuck's sake!
Wow, it's just...
We are not losing any more of our women and children to sick and twisted people. You know them foreigners, Dirk. Them foreigners, they're sick and twisted. Them foreigners, you know that. Are you aware of that? Terrible they are. Terrible. They eat their own babies for breakfast, so they do.
I mean, that's the problem with propaganda on either side.
Let me finish this. Children sick and twisted people who should not even be in Ireland in the first place.
Yeah.
What about the 25 million Irish that shouldn't be in all the other countries around the world too?
Well,
anyway, Irish government response to McGregor later tweeted he did not condone the riots before calling for change in Ireland. I'm in the process of arranging. Believe me, I'm way more tactical and I have backing. Oh yeah, we believe you, man. There will be a change in Ireland. Mark my words, the change needed. McGregor added in his tweet, which was a response to far-right figure Paul Golding calling for the UFC fighter to lead a freedom march in Dublin.
Brilliant.
The freedom.
Brilliant. Know. Wave that flag, will you?
Yeah. Sorry,
we were saying. Get our tickets now, right?
Yeah. You were saying, man.
Well, propaganda on both sides. Immigration is a problem. It definitely is. It's never been handled correctly. And Irish people in general, because of the Irish diaspora, I think understand that, or most Irish understand that, because how many was there? 250 million people of Irish lineage abroad, and 5 million in Ireland. 6 now. It's funny, but because of the oppressive United Kingdom and all that shit, they had to get the fuck out of Dodge, and they did, and they flourished. They went around the world and they created, Irish culture. But listen, I mean, the Irish are not necessarily known for, because they pulled their bootstraps up better than most. Let's just say that. The Irish are really, really resilient people. There are people from, really undeveloped countries. And don't forget, everybody, Ireland was considered a third world country until not so long ago. It was.
The 80s.
Yeah, the 80s. And now it's the biggest economy in all of Europe, bigger than Germany. It's outrageous.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah.
It's outrageous. The Celtic Tiger times 10, it's incredible.
Before everybody starts asking, I am wearing a Seiko. Yes, I'm wearing the Manta Ray King Turtle. It is one of the prettier watches I own and one of the cheapest, astoundingly. But then again, it's Seiko, and Seiko fucking rule. Look at that beauty. Isn't that magnificent? And you can't see it, but there are little manta rays on the dial in the water. It's a beautiful watch. What are you wearing today, man?
I'm wearing a Rolex Milgauss.
That's a beautiful piece. Very, very nice.
Courtesy of you and our.
It's actually in focus for once. Yeah.
Can you believe that? Look at that. Maybe
it almost looks like the one without the green crystal from here.
Can I?
I'm not catching any of the green, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. I love it.
Sorry. Yes. Dirk sounds better. The sound is better. Daniel says. Than yesterday. Yeah, he had a few technical issues yesterday. It happens, guys. Yeah. And Murphy's Law, it tends to always happen
when you need it most. Yeah.
When you need it the most.
Yeah. I've got great shit here. I've got like top of the line gear. Everything should be flawless. And it's been dialed in for how long now?
Right.
It's my computer. My computer is unhappy and she needs to be taken care of. I worked on her all day today. Did a couple things. I unplugged a lot of stuff. Kids, if you have computer, the two of us are Mac, geeks. We rebuild them and stuff.
Well, it sounds great today.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, Ireland has been ruined in the past 25 years. Do you think? I mean, that's an interesting. I mean, look, I think that's ridiculous, but this is an open arena for people to speak, provided it's not unsavory or uncouth. I just got back from Ireland. I went over to Ireland. I was there 6 weeks in total. I went all around Dublin. I was in Wicklow a bit, and then I went out to the west. I was in Galway and on a couple of the islands. Out west, things haven't really changed. Galway is still a bumping town, party town. So many bars and young, quite diverse, more diverse than I remember. And Dublin is a lot more diverse and way more built up. Like there's a lot more business, a lot more industry, hotels, restaurants, and of course there's a bit of a housing crisis going on because the prices are so high. Rents and purchasing a house is so expensive now, even for somebody earning a decent living in Dublin. Has it been ruined? I mean, I was in all the nice bars. I was going around restaurants. I was meeting up with friends and family, and I felt like it's just got a bit more like London. It's a bit more of a, it's a bit broader now. There's more money. There's a lot more nice cars going around. I didn't see any old bangers, as they say. You see an old banger in Dublin as an old shitty old car. When I was growing up in Dublin in the 80s, every car was a banger. You rarely saw a decent, nice car. I love that.
Do you know what the American term for an old car is? And it's great.
What is it?
I'm going to put that out real quick for the viewers. It's in the song Fascinating Rhythm. Fascinating rhythm, you got me on the go. Fascinating rhythm. Just like a flivver. A flivver.
A flivver.
A flivver is an old car in American parlance. Anyway.
Yeah, so I don't know. Has it been ruined? It depends, like where you're coming from, Notre Dame or Notre Dame. If you're in America, I don't know where you are.
The Fighting Irish.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're on the right wing side of things, you're a bit anti-immigrant in Ireland right now. You might say that it's been ruined. I certainly experienced a lot, like going into certain stores and. Like, I'll give you one example, Dirk. So I go down to Wicklow, right down to Glendalough, beautiful, picturesque place. And there was the Glendalough Hotel. And the staff in there, they were cool. They were nice. But no one was from Ireland. They were all Ukrainians or Lithuanians or Latvian, a couple of Latvians and so on. I got to know the guy behind the bar was Latvian. He was fucking cool. And got drunk there several times as I kept crashing my drones, going in there depressed, going, there goes another grand, and all my footage. But it was a little, it's a little jarring because you're there. Imagine traveling from all the way from the States. You come to this picturesque, ancient place in Ireland, and you're greeted with, by Latvians or whatever. It's got to be odd. But then down the street is Lara, which is the next nearest town, a little spit of a town. And I went there. I was there with my mom and my aunt. And we went, I said, let's not eat in the Glendalough Hotel. We'll go down the street to Lara. And in Lara, all the staff were from Lara. They're all Irish. Yeah. And the service was lovely and delightful and funny and cracking jokes and all. It was the true Irish experience. And I can imagine someone saying, this is more like it. This is what we want. Because of course immigrants are going to have difficulty integrating, and it'll never be quite as good service or whatever than you'll get probably from a native. There is also a video going around there of Halloween. The way a lot of houses, they put a load of candy outside in a big, huge cauldron or a bucket or something for all the kids coming by, just grab a piece of candy, trick or treat, whereas like it looked like a Romanian family or whatever, the entire family came over and emptied the entire thing into a black plastic bag that they had and then left. It was on security camera footage.
Well, of course they did, because they're gypsies. Right. That's what gypsies do.
Right. It's like, wow, these idiots have free candy outside their door. Right. But I would say that any hard right-wingers in Ireland might be like, you see them fucking immigrants. It's like, yeah, that's not nice. And if that happened to me, I'd chase them down the street and get the bag off and tell them not to come back. However, this is what happens with multiculturalism. You've got to melt together, hopefully,
Yeah, well, that's the hope. But, this is the first, we've been crossing borders, for forever. If you look at the American immigration, we had Ellis Island and a couple of people jumped off boats, but the illegal, illegal quote, air quotes, amount of people was very low comparatively to people who came over here with papers. People were turned away. It was very heartbreaking because, give me you're tired, you're hungry, you're poor, and all that stuff. And well, that does not apply anymore, and people, like you said jingoism. People have this form of nationalism that is so intense, it is so extreme that it's just the whole get off my lawn thing. Now, probably all of us here, both of Sheen and I, we have a touch of that, of course. As we get older, you tend to get a little bit more conservative as you get older. But, you hope your humanity can shine through, because I've always been like, not a nationalist, not a jingoist, none of that stuff. But, I'm not very pleased with the way shit's going on here now. You got people buying up nameless multinational companies from foreign entities, buying up all the property in my neighborhood and just systematically deleting us. That's a reality too.
Yeah, that upsets you, but it never upset me. I'll be honest with you now, man. I mean, we're great friends. We're the best of friends, but we disagree on many, many things. That never upset me. And you know why? You know why? And I'd made a speech with the locals there in Long Island City. God, it was 20 years ago or something. There was a big vote going on about a new Mexican restaurant opening up on Vernon Boulevard. And I went along with Kafia Sachs. Remember the Jewish girl who owned the cafe there?
Sure,
we were the best of friends. And she invited me along to this meeting. And there were local politicians there and so on. There was a microphone. And of course, Shoish, microphone, he has to have it in his hand, right? So they all gave their speeches. And I gave the opposing speech about letting, because the whole thing was sewn up by old Italians and so on in the area. And they didn't want some Mexican restaurant opening on Vernon Boulevard. And I said, listen, guys, the whole of the world is now aware of Long Island City since they were going to have host the Olympics. Do you remember?
Yeah.
If they were going to win the Olympics. They were going to put Olympic Park right there in Long Island City. Now, it didn't happen. It went to London instead or somewhere else. I can't remember. However, it made everybody kind of aware of Long Island City all of a sudden. And we had it all to ourselves for so long. We were one stop from Grand Central on the 7 train. And we were getting away with blue murder because we had, there was no one there. There was no gentrification yet. And we had the best view of Manhattan possible in Midtown. And we got to see the fucking Macy's Day or the fireworks on the 4th of July.
From my roof every year.
Yeah, from front row seats, right?
Yeah.
So I said, guys, it's over. The party's over because this is New York City. This is where business happens. This is the most capitalist city in the most capitalist country in the world. And move out of the way. Business is business. There's a tidal wave. This is what I said. There's a tidal wave of industry coming. Now, you can either have a Chipotle, which is the cheap McDonald's version of a Mexican restaurant next door, or you can have these two guys who just want to invest and open kind of a family-owned kind of feel, a bit classier or whatever, maybe more authentic. In the end, it didn't turn out to be such a great restaurant, but that's beside the point. I was basically saying, take your pick because change is a coming and you can't stop it. So do you want Starbucks, Chipotle, McDonald's, Dairy Queen? Do you want all of that and a Kmart? Or do you want little cool restaurants, family owned, artisan kind of shit? Because you don't get to choose neither of those. They're going to come, they're going to buy up the land, they're going to buy you out. And that's it. So run with that. This is the problem with these issues, is that we move forward. And if anywhere is going to move forward, New York will. It's where the money is, man. They come from all over the world. Most people in New York aren't even from New York. You're one of the few New Yorkers I actually know from that city. Most other people from different states or from different places in the world. They come from all over the world. Now Ireland is the shoes on the other foot. We were all leaving Ireland. When I was a teenager and when I was going to college, the whole conversation was how the Irish are leaving, the emigration. We amazing education system, one of the best in the world. And then all the talent gets on a plane or on a boat and goes off to England or goes off to the United States or somewhere. So we're losing all our workforce. The shoe's on the other foot now. Now it's one of the richest countries in the world. Everybody wants to go there. And now we're paying that price for having all of that wealth.
And it's going to, you got all these people. Like my niece went to Trinity. Now she lives in the UK. She got out of Dodge here. But then you have the other side saying it's going to put it's going to tax.
She went to Trinity College?
She did.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She did. She went there. That's where she learned how to drink.
Yeah, because they have a cool pub in the tombs underneath. Like not tombs, but like in the like cellars underneath. Yeah. And it's like a euro for a pint of Guinness if you're one of the students.
Like she ever paid for a drink, ever.
Right. Okay.
She had her girls, her dub girls who were teaching her the ropes. And listen, in America we have to pay for healthcare. In Ireland they don't. So when you have boatloads of people coming over. That taxes that system. There's a lot of taxation that happens where people pay into a certain system and then other people are using it and getting it for free. I understand why that's annoying, because say you broke. Listen, this is a for instance. Who was it? It was my dear friend Mimi Reichenbach was in. Her daughter was in Ireland. She was in Dublin actually, and she got really, really, really sick. And
from what, COVID?
No, it was some kind of gastrointestinal. She was vomiting and very ill. And she called me up. She goes, "Where should I go?" And I went on the map and I said, "Go to the hospital because this sounds better." She had a really high fever. She went there and she said it was, I'm not going to paraphrase because I don't want to go either way, but it was so packed in there that she couldn't see a doctor because the emergency room was so bad. She wound up going back home and getting worse. And then they had to call an ambulance because she was in a mess of a state. It does do that. There's bad things that can happen when you have too many people who are under the radar. If you do the math, you understand that. You know, giving away a nation, that's another thing that the right love to talk about. I mean, like I said, where in my particular situation is like the Chinese are buying up Long Island City. And the reason that they're able to do it is because they're getting 1% bank loans from the Bank of China over 30 years. The incentive is to buy American property. And if you look at it, like, why do we ever go to war? We go to war because we don't want other countries to take us over, right? That's the reason for war, right?
I see where you're going.
You know where I'm going. So we go to war because we don't want X country to invade Y country because I'm a Y man and I like my culture and blah blah blah. You know what, kids? That model is over. Because when you buy everything, when you own all of a country, guess what? It's not your country anymore. So learn Mandarin today. So, I mean, that's the thing too. Like, would you be sad if, I'm just playing devil's advocate, friends? You know, I like to dance in the middle. Okay. Look at England, and here's a problem. And this is a hot button issue, but it's a true one. There are cities in France and there are cities in England that you can't go in because they practice Sharia law. And that's pretty fucked up because that is not a culture that we can understand. It's great to say, I don't care if you worship a sunflower or whomever your God is, but now Sharia law is a pretty heavy duty thing. There are women getting beaten. And this is real. It's not propaganda. It happens. You can't go to, I think it's Leeds is a bad place. And I know Lyon in France is a bad place. Marseille is a bad place. It's a bad place because you can't go there because there's no more French culture. So what do you do or what do you say? And I'm just asking this at the dais, my friends. What do you think about when another culture usurps the primary culture to the point where it starts to obliterate? Like, imagine France is no longer good for, like, who cares about the Arc de Triomphe or the Eiffel Tower? It's not part of our culture. It's part of their culture. Let's get rid of that and build a mosque or whatever. What do you think? What do you think about that angle?
Well, again, we're in different positions here on this as usual, and that's fine.
I didn't say which. I'm just saying that's my observation of it, and now I actually feel it. I always said, "Stop it," but now I actually see what's happening here, and I mean, my town is not my town anymore, and I understand progress. I understand all those things, but it's also like it's culturally changing because there's no integration here at all. It's like everybody's trying to get pushed out. Like signs are going up that you can't read, stuff like that. I can understand why that upsets people.
I can see why it upsets people. Going back to the free speech thing, and it is related just as an example, it's upsetting to hear people say certain things. However, they need to be allowed to say them. Taking away their freedom to say the thing Now we're into that's worse.
It's
Okay.
worse, yeah.
Even though it could be very upsetting, certain people saying certain things. So in the same way, it's upsetting. You're watching. You've been in that hood there, that particular hood there in New York, for over 30 years.
Yes.
It's upsetting. However,
they are also trying to remove me.
Of course, so it's hitting you right on your doorstep, literally right on your doorstep. So you're feeling it. And of course, I sympathize with that situation. Yeah. But from a global stepping back, you should know that I don't think that there's anything unusual about it, because that's capitalism, baby. That is, you're in New York, man. Out of all places. I mean, there are towns here in Italy that go back 1,600 years, 2,000 years, where you don't want them to knock anything down because it's fucking historical art.
Sure.
New York is malleable. It's fucking chewing gum. You can knock something down and build something new right next to it or whatever. And it's all about who's got the money to buy the land. There isn't a whole lot of that hanging on to the past kind of stuff. I mean, if there was, there wouldn't be a New York in the first place. Let's look at it that way. Who was there 300 years ago, 500 years ago? Think about that. Do they have the right to return? Right?
They should.
They should. But if they did, you'd be out on your ear, and so would the Chinese woman who owns your building.
I think I'd be happy to move to Ireland, where I'd be welcome.
And you have the passport.
I was just playing devil's advocate, guys. So so don't go off on.
No, it's great. It's great.
No, not you, but like I'm looking at the chats and I'm just saying, listen, I'm understanding firsthand what that feels like, and it's not a good feeling. I also, I was raised Catholic. However, I'm not exactly a practicing Catholic. Though I went through a formal Catholic education, I can understand when you have like a dominant religion when a religion becomes a law, when religion's not something you practice, when religion is something you have to adhere to and it's forced upon you, which is something, sorry, liberals of the world, Sharia law is that's the law. It's not something like, but I'm not Muslim, so I'm exempt. It's an extreme. It is. Is it not?
No, it is, but all religions are. Like
no. There's a difference. There's like, if I got pregnant and I went to the priest, he'll judge me. But like Sharia law, like there's some serious consequences when you are arrested for a Sharia. Forgive me for not knowing the conjugate, for whatever the conjugate is for. An infraction on Sharia law. Like people are stoned, people are whatever. And they're doing that in countries where that is not a formal practice. So it's not an Islamic state. And I'm not just using that. It's just, that's what's happening, people. So
it's not part of British or American constitutions.
No, it's not. But it's there though. It's in France. I mean, there are places where they're warning, don't go there.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
we come in at different places on this.
No. I mean, if you go to what is it? I forget the name of the town that's near the airport in London. I watched a couple of videos where there's laws that says, be aware, exposing one's legs, arms, cleavage is forbidden, blah blah, against the Sharia law, and it's like don't proceed past this point.
Listen, if Sharia law made it into government, now you're really truly changing the country. If some group of people have now outpopulated, like for example, Satanism is very, very strong in there's a city in England. It begins with L, like Lucifer. I can't even remember the name. I remember seeing a BBC documentary about it, Lucifer in Leicestershire or somewhere like that. Sorry if you're from Leicestershire and it's not there, but it's one of those towns. And there's like 60% fucking Satanists. Okay. So they get to do their own thing. Satanists are very interesting people, by the way. You should if you ever meet a Satanist, actually talk to them and you realize it's not full of blood and lamb's bones around their house. It's actually kind of fucking weirdly interesting.
It's kind of a self-love, like if you read LaVey or the
Luton, thank you.
Luton is where the Sharia law is, by the way, too.
So now we have Satanists and we have Sharia. Okay.
Luton is the town. Yeah.
Are they Sunni or are they Shia? Which side? Because the Sunnis and the Shias kick the shit out of each other for the smallest details. Anyway, listen. Radical religion exists all around the world. As long as the government remains secular, you're okay.
Sure.
Separation of church and state. Now, that doesn't necessarily even happen in the United Kingdom. Like, you can't be Catholic and become king in England. There's a law that goes back to 1780 preventing that. It's one of the reasons why a lot of Germans moved into the hierarchy there in England, is because they want to avoid Catholics from getting in there. Ireland, for example, for the longest time, if you weren't a practicing Catholic or your child hadn't been baptized, you couldn't you couldn't bring them to certain schools. That's fucking backwards. And that's Catholicism and Protestantism in England. It happens. Now, I know Sharia is pretty intense and so on, but I'm just saying that this kind of stuff goes on. Like, one of the big arguments people have been, especially zealots and so on in the Middle East conversation the past couple of weeks, is like, oh, if you were gay, you couldn't go to Gaza. They wouldn't tolerate you. You could. There's places in America they just won't tolerate your mouth you shut. Either. There's places in America. Yeah, you go to Gaza and meet the handsome fellas. Just wink, wink. But there are places in America where they'll string you up for being gay. You know what I mean? There was that pastor. He since passed away. I can't remember his name. And he was all about 9/11 and AIDS was God punishing us for fornication and for homosexuality. That was in the United States of America.
Totally.
Kids. Okay. So let's all fucking slow down with the pointing of the fingers over the fence.
Maybe it is an illness. Who knows? Maybe it is.
What? Homosexuality?
Yeah, maybe it is.
Are you ill, man?
No. Maybe. I don't know. Are we just being allowed to run wild now because we're also politically correct? There used to be you would go through shock therapy.
That shows how evolved you are to even say something like that. It's amazing.
Maybe
because what you're doing is you're toying with the other argument, which is something I do every day, and I get in lots of trouble for it.
That's okay. I don't mind. I just everybody's hating on me because of the Sharia law thing, and that's fine. I don't necessarily believe that.
No, they aren't.
Yeah. Well, listen. It could be. I mean, throughout the history of humanity, things have been considered good and bad. And in the last very small amount of time, we've changed our thinking because we've evolved. A woman can marry a woman. You remember when gay rights were happening? And I'm not going to get too deep into this because it's off the point. But it's like, next thing you do is going to marry a fucking goat, because it's going to be, because, and I guess it's your right to marry a goat. Maybe you shouldn't tell anybody, but if you love a goat, maybe you should not speak about it. I think it's all over amplified stuff, and it's innocuous.
Lane Dust 50 has Dirk actually does Dirk, I assume, actually have any knowledge of anything relating outside of New York and US? Dirk was actually born in the US, but grew up in Ireland, or was it the other way around? I can't remember.
I was born here, and I spent most of my childhood every summer for sure, and throughout the west of Ireland and Dublin in my Uncle Mick's house. I honestly don't know that much about U.S. intelligence because I don't give a shit, because I'm so not jingoistic. I'm just, feeling a bit personally threatened right now, and it's different when it happens to you kids. It just is. When things happen to you, you change your opinion. Toot sweet. I'm much more interested in global affairs than I am in rah America shit, because I think that this is a land of immigration. I think we, annihilated an entire group of people to make real estate for all the European settlers who wanted to come here. I'm not a big fan of that, and I'm a big fan of immigration, but I do think immigration should be legal, and I think instead of everybody fighting over it, we should figure out how to do it correctly, because we did it one time. And we built who built America? The non-Americans. It was all the immigrants, all the great bridges, all the great monuments.
The Irish built New York.
Every time you get on a subway, it was the Irish. All the brickwork, all Italians, all the Masons. infrastructure, Germans. I mean, it's incredible the amount of immigrant know-how, craftsmanship. People say, well, I don't build like that anymore, in New York. Yeah, I'm not gonna die. I can't build like that. Nobody builds like that anymore. You know why? Because those people don't do those jobs anymore, because it's gone. That art is gone. You have to go to Italy, where you meet some mason who can create, beautiful things out of sand and cement and whatever. Americans are, hey, guess maybe it's the time of reckoning. Everybody's taking your jobs. Hey, I got fired.
It's funny, and they used to say in America as well, part of the problem was, American made was a very rare thing in the past 30, 40 years. Why? Because it was cheaper to outsource over to India or to China or somewhere. And then a lot of people would make that argument, Americans don't want to do that job. They don't want to make sneakers. They don't want to stand on an assembly line. They want a different kind of job. You need different kinds of people around the world. This is one of the arguments they made. And I'm thinking, is that happening to Ireland now? Is that why when I go into the Glendalough Hotel, it's all Latvians and so on? Because the Irish wouldn't work in a bar in Glendalough. They want to go to the big city. They want to go work for Airbnb or Facebook or Google. Is the service industry by Mexicans, right? In New York, at least. Is the service industry in Dublin changing to, the foreigners who are happy to just come to a country where they're not going to get blown to bits by someone?
Sure.
And they'll get a little bit of social welfare and a little bit of aid to find some little shitty apartment somewhere, and then integrate into the system. And then they get offered a job as a waitress or as a waiter or a bricklayer or whatever.
Laborer.
The labor industry.
I haven't been to Ireland in quite a number of years, but I remember when we went in the noughties, my whole family went, and we got a big caravan, and we went to everybody's house and stayed in every town where we have any kind of blood at all. So, my parents are getting up there, and it was time to do that. Yeah. Every hotel, every restaurant, everyone was Polish. There were no, and Irish and Poles look quite a lot alike, so you can never tell.
Yeah, and, we're all pasty white people,
very white with very blue eyes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like America. When the money rolls in, and the Irish or the Americans or whomever the economy's happening to, they move on to the better job, the cooler job. It's happening here. Like, Americans don't want to wait tables. Like I was working late at night at the bars. I was always said, I'm like, she's like the only white guy on the train, because all the jobs are all the people working their double shifts. And I've said this a million times when people talk about Mexican immigrants. I've never, ever in my life seen anybody work harder than all the Mexicans that have come to this country, and the stories that I've heard from them about how they got here, robbery, raped, beatings, all kinds of things at the hands of border guards, and the people that they were paying for their passage. These are people who come here with not a pot to piss in. They're looking for a better life because they're afraid of the cartels. They're afraid of this. And they come here and they wash the dishes and they clean the toilets and they mop up everything. They do all the infrastructural jobs that nobody here is willing to do because, we're American. I can get a better job than that.
Yeah, because we have dreams and aspirations.
Like, as if they don't have fucking dreams and aspirations too. Right. I mean, that's amazing to me. I'm like, she doesn't have a fucking dream. She got raped in a box car on the way here. I'm not going to name names, but I had a coworker I worked with who was the most beautiful person in the world. She was lovely. She had a small daughter. She came here. She worked, double shifts. She had 3 jobs, off the books, because that's, what are you going to do? Yes. She's got to make some money, and, God bless her. But she came here and she finally, she's a citizen now. She worked her way in. She came here to be an American. And that's nice. I always say, like, I practice Italian every day because I plan on moving to Italy. Paul speaks fluent Italian. I don't think it would be cool for me to go over to Italy and go, you need to speak English because I don't understand you. I think
it lasts about half an hour.
It lasts 10 seconds. especially like, in a podunk town. I think only in Milan would I get away with that.
Yeah, there are
You know,
more English speakers in Milan than there are
yeah, of
Italians
course there
probably
are.
at this point. Yeah,
Listen, immigration, people come to your country because they need a better life. They don't want it. They need it. They need it. It's because
yeah,
where they're coming from, all the people who came from Syria, Aleppo, the people who come from the Cote d'Ivoire, all that stuff, you know, they're looking for a better life. And the 99.9% of them are willing to do whatever it takes to become a respectful person. They're not criminals. They're not enemies.
yeah.
Uh, they are people who want a better life for themselves, their loved ones, their children and grandchildren, because they're going to die in their own countries. Because look what's happening. So, I mean, as right wing as people want to say, you know who I'm talking about right now. No, I'm not. I'm in the middle. I think I can look at both sides, and I think we all need to do that a little bit more clearly instead of having our own stuck up, fucked up opinion.
Well, we don't live in a world where emigration and immigration doesn't exist.
Right.
We, as a species, we move around the world. This is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at that, the end of an era, take Long Island City, for example, New York, the end of an era. I remember the era when it was just PJ Leahy's and McRiley's pubs.
Man, well, I
And
miss
you
that.
missed that era. That was your era. And the way I look at it is, okay, I mean, take Britain, for example, has created some of the greatest rock music of all time, right?
Sure.
Between 1960 and 2000, I would say, right? Some of the greatest shit ever. And they basically mastered the art of rock and roll. And of course, heavy metal was invented there. And,
sure was.
and
Birmingham.
I kind of, yeah, now, one of the most popular names in London is Mohammed. Okay, we all know about that.
Mhm.
So it's extremely multicultural. Will we ever have those kind of great bands happen? No, we'll have new, different shit. Maybe me and you won't like it, but maybe
We're
we'll dig
past
it.
the point of liking anything, because once you pass 40, you start
you're
to hate
done.
everything.
You start to
This
hate
is how it
everything.
works. I
And
hate
you
that
just hang
show.
on. Yeah, you
I hate
hang
that
on to the
band.
past. You hang on to the past. This is a part of aging.
Just
So
what it does.
they don't make
I
it
want
like
what I know.
Yeah, I know what I like, and I like what I know. Peter Gabriel, Genesis legend. So, the way I look at it is like, I'll just look at that as a golden era. And it was a beautiful moment, and that's that. It's like a surfer out there, and he catches a really perfect wave, and he rides it, and it's beautiful. And the next one after that ain't so good, and then the tide changes, and that's that. It's like, this is how the world works. We migrate, we move like all other animals, most other animals around the world. We move, we migrate, we integrate, and there are teething issues with that. When you think about it, what McGregor is doing there, he's coming from a fascist idea, because he's saying we want Ireland to remain pure and Irish. That's the angle he's coming from.
Yeah,
and as cool as that is, and I love it and all that, it's just not the way the world works. The moment a country begins to prosper and flourish, people migrate into the country and people start fucking each other. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. And I was making the point there on Who Needs a Drink on Friday. It's like, maybe, all the Brazilians, they opened the floodgates for the Brazilians like 6 years ago or something, right? So it was like 100,000 Brazilians.
They're just going to want to fuck you to death. That's all
they're going to want to.
They're the horniest people in the world.
Yeah, and we should, because why? We'll get better at soccer.
We'll get better at soccer.
We'll get better at soccer.
There'll be way better arses.
Yeah, we'll finally get a nice round arse.
Ireland will have achieved its first ass ever.
Yeah, exactly. There's no every ass in Ireland is we have big boobs, right? The Irish girls always have huge boobs and no ass, flat. Here in Italy, they're all the ladies. I'm being facetious, okay? I'm just we're trying to keep it, some levity in the room here, guys. Yeah. So little going on up here. And the most perfect, you want to see the most perfect legs and ass in the world, it's Italian girls. They're unbelievable. It's amazing. So these are how the culture is like mixed together. Come on, girls and boys. Come on, let's do it. And boys and girls and girls, if that, but I'm talking about offspring. I'm talking about in 20 years, some Irish kid with sallow skin, olive skin, who's fucking amazing at soccer. And like finally then we we make our way to the finals in the World Cup. What's wrong with that? But people have an issue. They don't want to integrate. They don't want that melting to happen. The truth is the melting has been happening for the longest time, since the dawn
in
of
Ireland
time.
too. You've always had two cultures there. People don't realize that.
What, the Brits and the Irish?
No.
What are you talking about? The travelers, the Spanish and the nomads, and
they
so
are a
on.
completely different DNA group than you guys.
Well, look at me.
You might have it. You don't even know.
Do I look Irish to you?
Well, you do. I mean, I've got, you do.
Black Irish, the old Irish, before the Vikings came down from the north.
I have no Viking in my DNA at all. Zero. My brother does, and my sister Carrie does, and my mom did, and my dad doesn't. My sister Pat and I don't. So we're just black Irish fuckers. I mean, I'm hairier than a pizza man. What the fuck is that?
Me too.
Yeah. I don't know. Meanwhile, I take pictures of my Milgauss and I look like a gorilla.
You just figure out how to actually keep that out of the shot.
Look like a gorilla.
My
father didn't have a hair on his body. Isn't that weird? Not a single one.
That's odd. That's very odd for an Irishman. Yeah. But I got a strap for the Speedy, I remember once years ago. For a Speedy Pro. It's the first one I got. And it was one of those ones with the big holes, like the 3 big holes.
Oh, yeah, I love those.
They're gorgeous, right?
Beautiful. Oh, and you're planting a garden.
The girlfriend was like, it's kind of a cool strap, but it doesn't suit you because all your hair is sticking out of
it. Yeah, right. You need to water that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's funny. It's Irish people come in a lot of different flavors. And listen, I've always said, and we know a lot of Irish fellas that go for something completely different. And that's Irish people had never seen black girls or Spanish girls, and of course it's exotic and fun, and that's the fun part of it. So the Chinese part's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're going through. There is a situation, of course. Hey, listen, here in Venice, there are guys from outside of Venice buying up all the fucking apartments and renting all the apartments and doing them up and then going straight to Airbnb. And they're not Venetians. They have nothing to do with Venice. They're fucking imposters.
Sure.
And the locals are pissed off with that kind of stuff because now, a young student or whatever, doesn't want to come here or live here because they can't afford it. Because it's just fuckers like me and various other people, the rich, and then people coming to visit and doing the Airbnb thing. It's a problem. Now they're trying to instill laws. Like recently in New York, now they fucked the Airbnb thing completely. Right?
Yeah, it's going belly up, Airbnb.
Yeah.
Really,
because it has to be like a 30-day minimum, and the family have to be present and all. It's like rules that are just impossible to get past, which I don't have an issue with. It was getting out of control in New York.
I only tried the Airbnb once, the one you booked for us. Well, the one across the hall from you, which was great. And then that amazing flat a couple of blocks away. That
one thing I got, yeah.
Oh, man, I would kill to live in there. It was just perfect. Yeah. Everything about it was 3 bedrooms, this giant, real working kitchen, great living room, but it had like balcony doors from the living room and the main bedroom that opened up onto this little piazza, like a half a block from the water. It was just magical. And it was really like the price was unbelievable. It was like $340 a night for the 5 of us.
Yeah, like 6 bedrooms or something other thing.
It was crazy. Massive,
Yeah.
It's like, ugh. It's like,
well, they have an issue now. I actually know the guy who rents that building. He owns that building. He goes to St. Cafe, and I'm
sure he does.
Yeah. Well, it's right there, and he's yeah. I mean, it's an issue now with the whole renting. I think they're going through Booking.com more now.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing with Airbnb. It got so watered down where you could get an Airbnb. Everybody said it's like Uber. Like I got in an Uber recently and it was a Lyft. You know what I mean? They're just pimping themselves out to whomever they can get, like the Airbnbs, it wasn't through Airbnb anymore. They were Airbnb through Booking and all the other Trivago. So the model was there, but everybody, as they always do, water always finds a way to escape, to go through the cracks,
Richie Rich, I came in late, Oisin. That's okay, man.
Yeah.
But what is up with Thorpe deleting his TPG and FBI videos? I didn't know. Did he delete them? I hope he deleted the one warning everybody about talking about the ongoing investigation, because that was pure fucking gaslighting. That is not a real thing. People get to discuss an ongoing investigation if they're outside, if they're not directly involved in it. What he said there and the warning was very, very misleading and very dark. Once again, the character gets darker and darker right in front of us as we continue on. I was speaking to a friend in the bureau who said that's total bollocks as well. So I actually might have him as a guest again on Friday. We'll see.
John.
John.
I love John. He's so measured.
He's got to be. That's his job. So what else are we talking about tonight? I mean, are we going to stay in the head? I don't want to get too heavy, but of course, hostages.
I think we went where we're going on that topic.
Yeah.
I mean, Conor McGregor, he's a jingoist. Yeah, he's got a big mouth. His job is always being hot button issues, open up his big trap, cause a melee. But now he's Donald Trump. Now he's inciting a riot. I mean, he didn't do it. It was after the fact. He didn't do it while it was happening, right?
No.
It was after the fact.
He technically didn't incite a riot. He didn't say let's all go to Parnell Square and break the place apart. He didn't say that. That's direct incitement. But of course his words are incendiary, and of course he has a huge following, and people are going to get even more irate. I wonder what these people think. Like if we send every immigrant that's entered the country in the past 5 years off on a boat, are we now free of crime in Ireland? Is there no more crime anymore?
No, there'll always be crime in Ireland because of knackers.
So guys, you don't know, maybe the word knacker is not maybe what you think. It sounds like another word that's very, very disparaging.
No.
But knacker, KN, is it KN? A-K-E-R?
I think
you spell that word.
I think I always say
it's like knock on your door, right?
I think it's K-N-A-C-K.
Yeah, right.
K-E-R, but it could be, it's K-N. You're a dirty knacker. You're just a hooligan.
It's like a hooligan. It's kind of like white trash meets hooligan or
you
whatever.
You wear track suits. You wear your kit.
It's kind of a racist term even in itself, but Dirk's not using it. He's just being lighthearted.
What's the problem with racist comments? They're fun. All the best comedy was racist. What happened to us? Can't we all take a joke?
We're all
a dirty
knacker. We're all snowflakes.
Unless it's about me, Irish people and gay people. Who gives a fuck? I don't care. Bring them on. Bring on all the jokes. It's fun.
I've made jokes about that for years, man. You've never gotten offended or anything. It's all in jest.
Could I?
It's all fucking great.
If you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at? I mean, who can you laugh at?
Right.
Everybody today is just so fucking hypersensitive, and you live in the most open world where you can be a daffodil. You can, I've decided that I'm a chicken. You can be anything you fucking want in this world, yet everybody finds a reason to be offended for everything. Laugh at yourself, kids, and listen. Like I've been watching the chat. A couple of you are not listening. And that's the problem. A lot of you are. Just listen. You have your own opinion, but listen to what other people think. That's why I love General Admiral.
Colin is making a good point. Colin is making a good point. And I say column, like Gorham, like film, right? I went to see a film yesterday, right? Knacker is the N word for travelers and gypsies. He's kind of right.
Who's the greatest column of all time, though?
Column. There's an actor.
God on high, hear my prayer. In my need, you have always been there. That's how he sings.
Colin, help me out.
He's a singer.
Colin, I don't know. Well, just tell me because I don't fucking know. How about that?
Colin
we can move on with the show. Colin Meaney.
No, not Colm Meaney. He's from Star Trek.
He's a great comedic actor. Well, you can give us the info, or we can move on with the show.
Who, me?
Yeah,
I said it. Colm Wilkinson.
Wilkinson. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Been off that radar for a while.
In my ears, you have always been there.
Anyhow, yeah. So maybe we shouldn't. I don't know if knacker is a.
Oh,
Listen,
come on. It's part of our world, dirty knacker. It's like dirty. The next thing you know, the slappers are going to be up in arms.
the slappers.
That's going to be the next thing. You know what? Fuck off and leave the Irish alone with.
How was your day tonight? Oh, Jesus, terrible. She was an awful slapper.
It's the best.
She threw a beer at the bartender.
She's a proper slapper.
and she pulled down her knickers by the liffey because she was down for a wee. She's an awful slapper. Oh, isn't it funny? It's so liberating, though. But I guess there's probably I guess in the woke world we're entering. Hey, we're in our 50s, so we don't have that much longer. So we'll eventually die off, and that'll be the end of that.
Right. There's a lot of column film.
I
love it. Film.
Yeah.
Granny used to say
everyone everyone in Ireland that I was talking to. Oh, I went to see that film.
Right. Did you see the new Tom Cruise film?
Film. Yeah.
It's only gorgeous.
Actually, there was someone who came up on Instagram. I swear to God, I learned so much. Every morning I wake up or going to bed and I'm fucking lying there with my fucking iPhone, and I learned so much and so many tidbits of information. So there's a word in Irish, Gurm, which means blue, Gorm, and it's pronounced Gurm. It's not Gorm, it's Gurm. So that might be where we get the film going and the column.
Well, it's like you were saying on the your video the other night about the Italians putting the vowels on the end of all the words. It's just what they do,
right?
You know. And he had the cara. He went to the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
She had a social disease. Yeah, she had the herpes. I didn't fuck her because she had the herpes.
Jesus.
Trying to lighten it up. Everybody's getting mad in the chats and saying, torches.
Burn him.
Burn him.
There'll be no burning here today. We'll banish him. No, burn him.
A wall.
Can you walk, cousin? A bloody well walk out of here.
Bloody well walk out of here. Oh, God. I'm Conor McLeod of the Clan McLeod. If you guys don't know, we're talking about Highlander.
They all know it. You gotta know Highlander. What a classic. I love that film, man.
I can watch it till I'm blue in the face. And they fixed a lot of it.
They did?
Yeah, who's the director? Oh, God, forgive me, because I'm old. Sorry. The guy that did all the Duran Duran videos.
I don't know.
My name is Rio. That, what's his name? One of you guys will figure it out. They went back in and they fixed all the really shit, like the lightning when they're having that scene with the car changes 3 different times.
Yeah, the quickening.
No, not the the quickening, the actual act of the quickening. Right.
So once they chop the head off the guy,
right.
They win. He wins the battle. He chops the head off the other immortal, and then within a minute,
happens,
the quickening begins to happen, and there's this electric current that goes through.
Yeah. But they fixed it all, so they did like Russell Mulcahy, the director, redid a version of it, and I was like, oh shit, this looks great, and I bought it on Blu-ray a couple of years ago. If that's a thing, is Blu-ray still a thing? There can be only one.
Not for long. There can be only one. I love that shit, man. When I was a kid, I loved that film.
You're obsessed, right? Me too.
I was such a boy, I was like, oh, sorry.
When you're a boy,
you get to wear a uniform.
You get to
learn to drive and everything.
Who's better than fucking Bowie? Fuck.
Other boys check you out. It's such a great. I still love
fucking
that
amazing,
song, and I love that video. I brought it up there a week ago,
and he didn't even like boys.
Isn't that funny about
He
Bowie?
didn't. He didn't fancy boys. He might have checked it
And
out and just
he
went, "Oh
married a
no."
man.
He married a beautiful
I
black
saw
woman.
a man.
Yeah.
She was sitting by herself having lunch in the NoHo Star on just north of it was just, well, north of Houston, NoHo, and I don't know. It was Lafayette. It was Lafayette and First, or no, First was Houston. Anyway, she was sitting by herself. I was like, that is the most statuesque creature I've ever seen in my life.
What an
She's there
absolute
having a salad.
specimen of beauty.
Of course,
My
they live
friend
down the
Mike
street.
was their gardener for a while.
Oh,
Quite a
really?
while. Yeah. You remember the big burly guy that used to live underneath me? We're still very close to him. He is a master gardener, and he does a lot of very, very high-end clientele in the New York City. And he was Bowie and Iman's. He said that she was very nice, very businesslike, but he would see Bowie like hiding behind a pillar and just like going like this.
Why?
Because he's so shy.
Oh, he's
He
a
didn't
shy
want to
dude.
engage. He'd be like the Prince show on SNL. I'd be like, tell Mike that I want rhododendrons on the right side of the terrace. He would whisper to him on, and we'll go, David would like rhododendrons on the right side of the terrace. Is that something you can do? And he'd be like, yeah. And he's like, he could tell me.
I know a gardener in the Hamptons. We crept into Truman Capote's house one night, all drunk. At a party.
You told me that story. Yeah.
We went into his house. There was no one there. I fucking pulled the slider open and walked right in. It was we were completely trespassing, but we were all drunk and so on. And I was with all these literary folk, all these writers and so on. And one guy knew the gardener who worked on it, and he said Spielberg had the place for about a year. And Spielberg was so demanding. He said, this is what Spielberg said. He goes, I don't like that tree there. Move it there. And they had to unroot the entire tree and move it 40 feet south. Like, that's the kind of shit he was capable of. This is the director's mind with unlimited cash. I don't like that tree. Move it.
Can you move a full-grown tree, though? Can you successfully
There aren't big machines that can pull a full tree and its roots out.
Is that right?
And replace
crane of some kind.
No, it's not a crane. It's like a big, crazy tractor with a big thing on the front. And it goes around and it goes down and it digs the entire thing out. You can find videos all around the internet. It wasn't an enormous tree. It was like maybe 15 feet tall. But it was a fucking proper-ass tree.
Wow.
He fucking moved the tree. For fuck's sake.
Well,
it wasn't. Could you have?
Did he call Janusz Kaminski in to take a night?
Yeah, to do that. He's like, garden's not perfect.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What do you think? Think I should move it a little to the left, Stephen?
Exactly. Daniel is asking me how the Austrian-Ireland videos are coming along. They're coming along. Listen, the Ireland one is, you know what I'm going to start doing, guys? Anybody watching? I'm going to start posting smaller clips to my Patreon and to the channel members and so on, just so you guys get to see, because I have to do it in segments. You do these things in segments anyway, but this time it's really segments. Like, I have to work on one 5-minute segment for days and then move on to a totally different. So they're really interesting just by themselves. So I'm going to give you guys something, because I need to give back to my audience. They're extremely generous and they help keep this channel going, the members and the patrons on Patreon. So I'm going to start giving you guys these clips. So by the time the full thing comes out, you'll know all the scenes, because you'll see them all separately. But, you know, at least you'll have a little fun with it.
Can't wait.
Yeah. So listen, we have to mention the hostages. I mean, I know this is political and so on, but it's on the news, man. We're seeing those classic scenes. It's like Munich. You know, speaking of Janusz Kaminski and
that movie, boy, is that a tough watch?
It's a tough watch. I mean, beautifully shot, of course.
Oh,
and incredibly made. But
one of the most beautifully shot films gets absolutely no love at all. Because
really, a lot of Spielberg shit doesn't get love. I don't know why. His later stuff, like what was the one about the horse? the show horse or some racing horse or something.
Oh no, I saw that book.
Seabiscuit was a
No, it wasn't Seabiscuit. It was Warhorse.
Was it? Anyway, like there's a lot of films he doesn't get. It's not, it's a far cry from the Schindler's List and the Jaws and the
Schindler's
Close
List
Encounters and
one of the best
E.T.
films ever made in the history of cinema. It's up there with Citizen Kane, which I watched recently and didn't think was the greatest movie ever made. I don't know. Did you all think that? Have you seen Citizen Kane?
I saw it twice or three times years ago. I haven't come back to it.
Like,
you know what? I saw it yesterday. Oppenheimer.
Oh, you did?
I finally saw Oppenheimer. I watched it on the computer here.
Oh, is it available?
And I continued it on my laptop in bed. I mean, I have a nice big screen on the laptop. It's not like a shitty laptop.
Sure.
But I put the headphones on to make sure I had the sound because I knew that was going to be important.
Yeah.
I've been talking to my daughter about this for the past fucking 24 hours because we have very strong opinions. Her opinion is getting stronger and stronger. I'm being left behind by my daughter completely. Yeah, by the way,
you're getting old man opinion, and she's the cutting edge auteur. She's the future of cinema.
Did you see my Instagram? That latest post?
Probably not, because I'm so well versed at the art of Instagram. You gonna pull it up?
I'm gonna try.
Did you, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put Oppenheimer?
Listen, I'm gonna have to watch it again. Like all of his movies.
Nolan, yeah.
I think I need to watch it again. It's good. We were talking about it being shot on the IMAX. There was no reason to shoot it on IMAX. Time is what? No,
it is if you want to see it in IMAX.
No, I don't. It's a political thriller,
right? It's not Jurassic Park.
Yeah, or myself and Lydia went to see a film some time ago. Oh fuck! Instagram is not helping me at all here. I'm just going to email myself a photo because I want to show you a really interesting photo. Anyway, there was a film myself and Lydia went to see here in Venice called 8 Mountains, and it's about Italians and one guy, 2 friends, and one guy just falls in love with the mountain life, and it was shot in 4:3. So, a lot of films are doing that instead of going, Panavision wide.
Maestros.
It was super high. And we both agreed that's because of the mountain shots. In order to get a decent mountain shot, you need height. You got to see that fucking thing and how high it is and living among those mountains. So the cinematography was outrageous, was beautiful, but there's no way they used IMAX. And I was saying, that's the sort of film that you shoot in IMAX because it's about the atmosphere around and the landscape and these incredible shots. Not Oppenheimer, where they're half of the film they're sitting in a small room. It's like a little kangaroo court that he's sitting in front of, trying to pull apart his connections with the Communist Party and stuff like that.
Is it true about Robert Downey Jr. in that? Apparently, this is his Oscar moment. He was so great in it. So everybody told me.
I don't think. I mean, if it were up to me, I wouldn't give him an Oscar. I wouldn't give anyone an Oscar in that movie. The only person, maybe, I wouldn't even give it to Cillian Murphy. He did a great job. But the person is, what's her name from Edge of Tomorrow and
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt. She's his drunk wife. Holy shit, man! Her performance was fucking.
She's good,
incredible. Man. Yeah. She stepped up to the plate. She's like a scary talent, that woman.
Talk for 2 seconds.
Yeah. I'm just getting this photo sent over to my Belgian movie. Is that a Belgian movie? The 8 Mount Otto Montagna? I thought it was Italian. Richie Rich thinks that Oppenheimer is worth watching just for Downey's performance. Listen, he was great. Everyone was great. There's no doubt. They all come in with their A game for Nolan, of course, because they know these films are going to go down in history. And it's an important film to watch. I was a little I have, I'm torn on the political aspect of that whole story. This whole idea that they saved lives by killing people. It's such a fucking bent thing. It's so fucked up. Oh, we killed 250,000 people to save another million. It's like, God, you're reaching now, aren't you? You know, it's like, you know, I robbed the bank so that other banks weren't robbed. You know, it's just, there's a lot of ambiguity, you might call it. I think they did a terrible, terrible thing with that bomb, and it's just people reach for any straw they can find just to justify it and make themselves feel okay so they can go to sleep at night. I think that's what it is. It was a horrific thing. But yeah, it's a powerful film. I'll watch it again. We had some problems with the making of the movie, the way the movie was made, and so
Ooh, that's bad considering it's him.
Well, it's just because he plays music constantly in the background. Like music is constantly going. So it felt like a commercial for the film sometimes. So that was odd. Also, I know the film is long. It's nearly 3 hours, but it should be
too long.
It should be an 8-hour film. What I'm trying to get at
here. The miniseries.
Yeah, it's a miniseries. He should have done a Netflix series so we could actually get through everything and process it. Because he's flying through a lot of technical shit and a lot of stuff. And it's real easy to get lost. He also did a thing that I think is a little cheap. And tell me if you think this is cheap. When they refer to a character we saw earlier in the movie and they give a little shot for a second of that person, so you know who they're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of cheap.
Well, I think it's for idiots.
It's for idiots. It's like pictures of the food on the menu in a restaurant, right? The picture of the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that because
Peter Jackson does that too.
Peter Jackson does it all the time.
That's why I walked out of the first Lord of the Rings. I was like, I can't fucking watch this. Every time they keep mentioning the ring and that dark prince or whatever,
they have to show it.
They keep going and showing it. I'm like, no, we get it. We're not as stupid as you think we are. You know? So there was that. I want to show you this photo. I finally got this photo up. Where is it? Window. This is my kid now.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah,
she's got that thing strapped around her.
Ari Alexa.
Yeah, that's a Black Magic Usla, I think it's called. But look, she's got the weight thing around her. She's got that arm, that gimbal arm shit, and the counterweight below.
That's Steadicam, right?
Yeah, she's like walking along, angling.
Yeah,
I mean. It's just like in a couple of years, I'm just going to be like calling her. I'm already calling her, asking her for her advice on equipment and so on. It's going to leave me in the fucking dark completely.
Well, it's her passion. She's obsessed.
That's her passion. And look at the monitor on the lower half here. Look, there's a fucking monitor down there, so she can see her shot and this counterweight. Because that's a big, heavy camera.
Sure. It's weighted in such a way that when you can walk around with that and it's got absolutely no jostle, no jiggle, no nothing. It's Steadicam. Yeah. It's incredible. I mean, that was invented not so long ago, and it's so heavily. Spielberg does operate that. Nolan does operate. Like the really great guys do that. Polanski does that.
I mean, Nolan brought that enormous fucking IMAX thing. They had to
creates a new camera every time he makes a movie.
I know. It's like, why, dude? Use an Arri Alexa Mini. It's beautiful, and you can hold it in your fucking hand. Especially if you're doing a political thriller. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. It's an interesting movie. By the way, speaking of the Irish and jingoism, you know what I'm having tonight? I'm having.
You have a cup of tea. You have a gorgeous cup of
Irish. I'm having an Irish tea. I'm having whiskey in tea.
This is a Lion's Green or Gold?
Lion's Green. Yeah, my sister sent it to me. I've been loving it.
It's the best.
Should I get the Gold?
No, I like the green over the gold. I have both in the house because I'm a Lions man, not a Barry's man. And I like green over gold. I do. It's got a little bit more of the flavor I like. But it's good.
Yeah.
I'll drink Barry's if I have to, but I don't love it. Don't love it.
I have Barry's here as well. It's doesn't have as much structure as Lions. The Lions has the structure.
No. And I don't use milk in anything but tea. I do put a spot of milk in it. I do.
I haven't been doing that actually. I've just been going hardcore. But I've been loving it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's coffee. I drink black, and tea. I have to put just a little bit of milk in it. No sugar, obviously, and that's how everyone in my family drinks tea. Just the way
sugar?
that it is. No, just milk. Just a spot of milk.
A little milk.
A little bit of milk.
Yeah.
Bag in. I'm a bag in kind of guy.
Oh, are you? Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing the cup, I love to make a pot. It's the best.
The pot is the most intense.
Yeah.
My sister sent this to me. It's such a great gift. And because we were trying teas in Dublin, and I was like, why is this tea better than the other tea? And she's like, that's the pot. You've been out of the country too long, you idiot.
Hold on one split second.
Is the cat going crazy? I think the cat's going crazy. Yeah. Omega fanboy, yes. I'm in a teapot dram. Exactly. Well, look, it's late here. It's early days for Dirk. This is one of the things we grapple with is the time difference. I'm loving this. Proud dad. Yes, Daniel. Yes, of course. That's what I am. Of course. Like any opportunity to fucking, yes. But you don't understand. Like, this is her dream. She wants to make films. She wants to be a great cinematographer or director or whatever. She's in one of the most prestigious film schools in Europe, which is in Milan. We had to move her to Milan. Myself and her mom, who obviously we haven't been together in 20 years, had to cooperate and put this whole thing together and move her there and get her a place. And she had to do all sorts of stuff to even be accepted into that college. And now she's fucking running this shit. I'm a fucking super proud dad. Of course I am.
It's amazing. My cat's yelling at me.
Yeah,
screaming in the other room. I just fed her, and I don't know what the fuck. We took a nap this afternoon, so she's probably just bored.
It was funny actually this evening because I was out with Simone, and Maya, the dog, was with us, and it was, the nature of the Irishman nature versus the Italian dude with the dog.
Oh, yeah.
It was totally there.
It's funny.
Because he handed me the leash. He's like, because we brought the dog into the bar, we went to have a beer. And he's like, I'm going to go pay. Can you? And he insisted. I was trying to pay, but he wouldn't accept it. And he's like, can you bring the dog out? So I went out with Maya. And I was just like, I pulled the leash tight and taut, and I'm like, sit, and the dog responds, of course, that's their nature. Immediately, the commander kicks in.
Sure.
It was very new for the dog completely.
Oh, is that
he was
funny?
Not accustomed to that at all. He's used to all the locals doting over the animal and so on. Whereas I'm just like in a totally different mind space with animals. It's crazy.
Everybody's got their different relationships and how they handle it.
Yeah.
I let them control my life. But you got to admit, you knew Dinga very well. She was the best trained dog in the world. She was so obedient. She never.
I actually never knew. I didn't know Dinga.
How is that possible?
I mean, I saw Dinga maybe twice.
I used to bring her to eye bashers in your house.
No,
yes,
it's impossible.
No,
maybe once, maybe.
No. She passed away in 2008. So you definitely knew her. Yeah, I used to bring her to your gaff because
I was there with you when you were in the dog park and some other stupid dog bit her ear.
Oh, yeah.
Cut her ear open.
Yeah.
I was there for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because it was my friend's dog. It was Pat.
Really?
Yeah, it was my friend Pat, my neighbor Pat. her dog was just not so nice because Dingo was like, I love everybody.
No, it was a different one. It was one of the yuppies who was down in the buildings on the water.
Oh.
And he was on the phone, not paying attention to his young pup. But it was a big, I don't know, it was a Labrador or something with some big pup just jumping around and attacking other dogs.
Oh, right. That time. That was the last time she ever went to a dog park because, fuck people. Because you know what? He's on his phone. You cunt.
Yeah. He's not paying attention.
He's not paying attention. He's just, you know what? I see people in this neighborhood now and they're immigrants. Yeah. Fuck y'all. And they have these dogs because they are status symbols. There's no mutts to be found. They're these very expensive AKC
dogs.
Pure breeds. It's a Gucci bag, it's a Fendi bag, and it's part of their culture to walk around on their phone, pay zero attention to their unruly, untrained pet who probably gets no love, and then they lock it in. My neighbor does that. She locks the dog in the fucking apartment all day long, a giant husky, all day long. It never sees the light of day. Early in the morning, 7 o'clock, and late at night. Once they let that dog out, it's so cruel.
Yeah,
it's
that's
terrible.
Wrong.
I have a very, very, very strong opinion on how people. If you can't have a pet, you should not have a pet. If you can't take care of a pet, don't have a pet. If you don't know how to train your pet, and pets need to be trained because they have to interact with other animals and other people, they need to have some kind of training in their lives, and they like it. So, Dingo was amazing. I could walk her without the leash if I wanted to. I didn't generally do that, but she would not ever leave my stride, ever. She would never see a cat and jump. She would never do it. That's sad.
That's a beautifully kept animal. But the animals are a reflection of the person. They always are.
Yeah.
It's not the animal's fault. It's the reflection of their master. Always. Yeah. That's the way I look at it.
So I guess Laverne is a psychopath now because as she gets older,
Laverne's a cat.
I know.
Laverne's a cat. Cats don't give a fuck.
They do though. They do more than you know.
Really?
I mean, I stand outside her litter box waiting for her to poop because she's older now. She gets constipated, so I'm like, and I have my gloves and I analyze it. I'm like, I've become a serious, like, crazy person. I'm an old cat lady now. And then she yells. I'm like, why are you yelling? Oh, it's bad.
Why are you yelling?
Yeah, why are you yelling? Like, what did I do? There's beautiful places to sleep, and you ate really great, and. I don't know. It's some animals, cats are generally very cunty and they don't give a fuck what you think in general.
They're one step away from taking over the whole building.
Yeah. If they had thumbs, we'd be in big, big, big trouble.
You'd wake up, you'd be tied. You'd be taped to the bed. If they had opposable thumbs, they'd have your credit card, they'd have everything. They'd be out of there.
Are you kidding me? They'd be crazy. I'm like, today I got her not freeze dried, her cryogenic frozen food that comes in. It's like it's really been great for her though. It comes in, it's pure, it's just beef, and it comes in a pack with CO2, so it's frozen solid. Okay. Then I have to get rid of the CO2 and I put it out on the deck, and it's like a kiss show. It's like a lot of smoke machines. Woo, people.
Newbie is saying cats are lodgers who don't pay rent and don't have a job. I saw the most perfect thing ever once. It was some meme where a dog is looking up, and the writing said, wow, these people give me a place to live and feed me all the time. They must be God.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then there's a cat in the same position going, wow, these people feed me and give me a place to live. I must be God.
Yeah.
And that describes exactly the difference between those two creatures. They're so opposite.
You wonder about God that you brought the subject up. Who came up with that first?
The idea of God?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Jesus, I know
you're going God deep. I was going to talk about the hostages being released, but now you've gone even deeper. Who came up with the idea there's no God?
Like, to why does the sun, why is it cold, and why is it hot, and why is it light, and why is it dark? We needed an explanation for the stars and
the sun, everything in the sky.
So somebody said, well, there's this dude and he made everything, and he controls everything. So it obviously started with one person. It had to, like everything does. Like
are you
God.
Do you have the answer or no? You just
No, I don't.
you're posing the question.
Asking. Yeah, it's like, and it's funny that all this time later, people still think that.
It may have been just an idea, someone pontificating, and then that caught on.
Oh, it definitely is that.
I mean, look what happened with me and the channel and all the hate channels talking about me. Somebody comes up with an idea like, I wonder why Oshin lives in Italy. Is it because maybe, and then that Chinese whisper, as we'd call it in Ireland, in America, they call it telephone. Somebody takes that and then repeats it to another person, and then it goes around in the circle. By the time it gets back to you, it's a fully developed conspiracy.
Right? No, it's
apparently I'm running from the American government or something. Like they just made this shit up.
That's amazing. Why I saw some of that too. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's why you haven't been back to the States. You haven't been back to the States. You know why? Because it sucks. Why would you want to be here? You live in the most beautiful place in the world, in my humble opinion.
I'll be back soon. I keep saying that, but I'm not moving back there. No. I'm not moving back. I'm going to come back to see everyone and to tie up some loose ends. I still have storage. I still have stuff in that office downtown, but I'm not going to, I'll do a month or two there, and then I'll come back here where the spritz is €3.
I mean,
how much is a select spritz in New York? Or you
can't get select, and if you can. So I went out to dinner with Nathaniel last week. First time I ever physically met him. We had a great time. Restaurant was it was pricey. As far as restaurants go, I mean, I've been in the restaurant business. The average entree was like $50, $48. And the average drink, I had a $36 glass of Pomerol.
What was it though? Was it good?
It was good, but it wasn't. And it was like, it came in it was a measured, it was just so shitty. Oh, and I'm not, $36. We have the little joke in our little crew where we call things Anya pours.
Yeah, that's an inside joke. Don't dox anyone.
I won't. Where it's just a very big, you just make a very big pour of wine. Yeah. And we're accustomed to making very small pours. But you know what? If I'm going to buy a $36 glass of wine, can you not give me 3 ounces of it?
Listen, if it's a glass, if it's a glass of wine that you're buying, just buy the glass. You just want one glass. Then you want as much wine in there as possible. Yeah. Pour me an Anya pour it all the way up to the edge, so I have to sip it like a hot cup of coffee.
That'll never happen in New York. $36, right. And then Nathaniel got a Côte de Rhone, which was, and I was like, that's where I'm stepping down to that one, and it was actually better.
It just happened to be a better wine.
And I think it was like $25. That was what the glasses of wine in this place were, $25. So if you want an Aperol Spritz, it's $20. It was in the place that I just recently no longer work. It was $20 for an Aperol Spritz.
Oh my god!
Yeah, $20.
It's €3 here for an Aperol Spritz, unless you're sitting at the Florian.
Well, how much is it at Florian? 10?
I don't know. I've never gotten one at the Florian, but
I have. Probably last time 10. We were there, we had one. Or did we go? We only went to Quadri. No, we went to Florian and Quadri last time we were there.
I mean, they're probably 10. They're probably 10.
Yeah, I mean, look where it is. It's just in the center of it all.
It's a different thing.
Yeah, because when you go to a restaurant, you're not.
Meanwhile, around the corner, it's $3. Like
right, because you just grab and go. Yeah. You're paying for the experience when you eat in a restaurant. The food was very, very good at this place. I had wanted to go to this restaurant for a while. We were trying to figure out, the Côte de Rhone was 17. Okay. I can't highlight anything right now because my computer's
$17 for a glass of Côte de Rhone.
Yeah, I mean.
Yikes. Yeah.
Was it 17? I mean, I thought it was a lot more. Yeah, I mean, you're paying for the experience, and I just think everybody.
I noticed pints went up in Ireland. People kept asking me that while I did the lives in Ireland, like how much is a pint, and I wasn't paying attention. It was, when I was in Ireland, it was all spend. I mean, I was just going from place to place, and it was just
Ireland's pricey now, yeah.
But I believe it was somewhere between €6 and €7 for a.
That's crazy, right?
Pint of Guinness, yeah.
If you go to Corner Pub, do they have Guinness there?
No, but they have beers.
Well, how much is it? I've had a beer there. How much is that?
Like,
€2?
No, €3 for a big pour. Yeah. Yeah. This is also Venice. Remember that too. No, you go inland and you find places that give you a whole carafe of vino, shitty vino, but an entire 2 liters.
Shitty for Italy vino, though. Not
shitty for Italy. Yeah, not shitty for everywhere else. Yeah, it'll probably be perfectly acceptable for most other people. But something made on their farm or locally or whatever. And you get a big fucking gallon of the thing on the table. That's €10. They drink it out of tiny little glasses.
What about that place we went to in the mountains where we had the best prosecco I've ever tasted in my entire life?
Oh, that was Da Romano.
Oh, fuck.
Romano, he owns that restaurant. Da Romano, that place is incredible. Yeah.
There was a spigot in the wall, and they would go with a carafe and they would fill it up. They would just go to the tap and just open it up and fill it up and then put it on the table. It was the color of straw.
Oh, you're talking about the place we went to in Costosa.
Yes.
In Costosa, the daytime.
Yeah, it was the breakfast. Daytime? Yeah. We went there for brunch or whatever the, what would you call it?
Well, the Italians start early.
Cola pranzo.
Yeah. No. The Italians start early. Brunch doesn't really make much sense to them because that's their biggest meal.
Yeah.
And they're already well underway at that point. Yeah. Some of the lads back in Vicenza would be like, okay, Sunday we're all doing a thing. Are you coming? And I'd be like, oh, what time are you starting? And they're like, we'll pick you up at 10. I'm like, 10 a.m.? I mean, after years in New York, it's 10 p.m. I'd start my day. 10 a.m. You want me out, and the fucking prosecco is flowing by 10:30. Boom. By the time you hit the restaurant or wherever you're going, it's it's 18 of us or 20 of us, and you're already fucking dancing in your head, and it's midday.
Day drinking, I don't really enjoy. I'll do it when I'm on holiday, but I don't really like day drinking at all.
Me neither. Call me after 6 p.m. Let me have my cappuccino, let me do my laundry and fucking start my day, and then I'll fucking drink everyone under the table till 5 a.m. No problem. Let's do shots, let's do Negronis.
You guys were doing that grappa, and then the other grappa in Angolo, you guys were drinking that other stuff that they had. What was the other grappa they had?
Baricato.
It was like the next level up of grappa, and you guys were
actually Baricato is more pleasant, and the Morbido is more pleasant.
It's the Morbido. That's the shit you were drinking. Yeah. Which, what that means, kids? Death.
No, Morbido.
Morbido, doesn't that mean
soft?
Oh, soft. That's true. Yeah.
No, morbid and morbido are two different things.
Right.
This is where the languages don't cross. Morbido means soft.
Morbid.
In the English, morbid is deathly, right?
Moyo
macabre,
is dead, right?
Right. Morbid.
Yeah.
But no, morbido means soft. Something that's soft is morbido. So you feel the bread is morbido.
Right.
Like malleable or something.
Right, malleable, yeah.
Yeah. So morbido is the softer, sweeter grappa. So let me tell you something funny. So, I'm Lydia's mom many years ago, and this is a woman who had a leather pouch here and a strap with her tobacco in there, and she had her Rizlas and she had her weed. I mean, the best weed ever, right? And she was a communist, she'd bring me to all the big communist parties and the concerts and stuff. And it was fucking amazing. And there was ribs everywhere and wine and fucking people smoking huge joints this long and stuff like that. Right. So it's full of that stuff. I hated the music because I'm not a big Rasta fan. I'm not into Rasta.
Me neither.
But
you're not into pot either.
I'm not into pot
that
either.
Whole culture is just, it's good for you.
I mean, I liked her.
Yeah, you liked her.
You know what I mean? So I was following that. I was chasing that because that was
boring.
we were talking earlier. We were talking about form and shape. Jesus Christ.
Sure.
Anyway. So she would quite often after dinner, we go to restaurants all over the place. And I'm learning about this Italian culture through this woman, which is, by the way, the best way to learn any culture, any country you go to. Date a woman, or if you're, date a man, whatever. And
date a chicken.
Yeah, I identify as a chicken. And
because you're a cucumber.
So she was after dinner, like she'd have her cafe. This is a coffee.
Yeah,
that's it.
Coffee.
Gone, right? Have a grappa, like a raspa. Yeah. And it came in it looked like a fucking test tube, like a long fucking glass like this. And she'd be like, "Do you want one?" I would try it sometimes. I'd be like, "Oh my God, that is fucking disgusting. I cannot drink it." First of all, it's 1,000,000,000% alcohol, and it's just not even pleasant. She fucking drink it as she was rolling her cigarette. This woman was she was tough, man. And but amazing person. And years later, I just never got into grappa ever. And somehow I wound up with a bottle of Julia, which Julia is one of the most brutal, hardcore grappas. I wound up with one in Long Island City for all those years, and it was always sitting on the top of the thing. Even the first eye bashers, it was up there above. And I was just, no matter how drunk I was, and no matter how empty the house was of alcohol, I would never go near that Julia because I would always regret it. Because I'm like, a grappa is just brutal. So years later, I'm back in Italy, and I'm no longer, of course, with her. But we're still friends, and we're going to a gig of some friends. And there's a big thunderstorm, and it kills the gig. The gig's cancelled. So we stop in this place and we have dinner. And it comes to the end of dinner. I haven't had dinner with this woman in years, and then it comes to would you like a grappa? They ask, and she goes, yeah, of course, I want my grappa. That's part of the dinner, And she's rolling her cigarette, and the waitress says, "Seca or morbida?"
Oh,
and I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Seca." And I was like, "No, wait. What do you mean, dry or soft?" And she goes, I'm not going to say her name, lady's mom. She goes, "Oh, well, there's two different types. I mean, I always get the Seca, And I was like, "There's a softer one?" And I was like, "I'll try a soft." And they bring a soft, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is so much nicer. This is like drinkable. Like it's still brutally hard, and it's not something you would ever drink, Dirk."
Oh no,
it's way beyond your thing. But it's not as bad.
I did this. No, thank you. I don't like booze. I don't like.
Yeah, you don't like the hard stuff.
I don't like hard stuff.
So they bring out the morbid, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I totally turned. There's one called Sarpa. Is it Sarpa? And there's Barricato, which is put through the barrels.
Yeah.
And so on. There's a whole world of beautiful soft grappas. I just realized I was living with, or I was having a child with, etc., all of the above, with a person who drank Seca, which is like the most...
She's tough.
So I'm telling a good friend, Boosie, in Vicenza, this story years later. And he's like, "Don't you know," I'm not going to say her name, "don't you know she's a Bolshevik at heart?" We all know that in this town. That girl is a Bolshevik. She is just... I was like, I had no idea. That's what I thought grappa was the entire time. But I can't drink grappa anymore.
You guys drank it. What year was that? 2017 trip. Yeah, it was 2017. Because all the guys at that restaurant. And I mean, it was like
Angelo.
We took over the whole piazza pretty much. And then at the end we went in for DJ Stevie or whatever. I'm strictly a Cafe Doppio guy. At the end of a meal, I'm not drinking any booze. I'm done. Once I'm done. But they lingered for, and our apartment, our Airbnb, wherever we were staying, was
right
in the same building, right above it.
Angelo owns that.
Oh, is that right? So and he came out and he was putting all these different things out. And I mean, the gang was, I don't know what you were drinking specifically, but I mean, there was some serious rocket fuel. But I remember he brought out this carafe of something, this bottle of something. It looked very aged, and he said that was the king of all grappas. And I know Paul drank it, and Dana definitely drank it.
It was probably soft. Still not good enough for you know who. She wouldn't have had that. She would have been like, "No, bring me a Julia." Ooh.
Yeah,
you know what you do with Julia? You put it
in a bottle instead of ragging it on fire, and you throw it.
You throw it at the man. You throw it at the IDF.
Right. Bull.
Travis Watts.
Wow. Yeah. You just did.
Yeah. Travis Watts. That was rough. I'll get in trouble for that one. $5. First trip to I'm not coming back from that.
First trip to Europe. Laughing because it's funny. Come on.
Come on. You gotta come on.
There'll be the comments.
This is for you. This question is for you, not for me.
My first trip to Europe, dude, I don't know. I mean, it was Ireland because my first memories are all Irish. I have early memories of they're all Irish. I don't know. It was weird. My dad was with the airlines, so we used to travel for nothing, and I up until now I still have but
Hunter's Agners, right? I'm definitely on their list for sure.
Maybe Wonder Woman's like captaining the boat. And then so I just remember my first formed memories are like, I guess I'm 3.
This like 3 years old to Ireland.
I mean, no, I was in Ireland at 4 months old. We were always over there. And so I don't remember much about it was Ireland, but we went to Germany. I've been to Iceland. I've been to Greenland. I do remember being in Nuuk because back in the day, we used to have to change planes a lot because my dad would, we were flying non-rev. So we'd fly on Lufthansa a lot as kids. We would do this inter-airline thing. He worked for American, but we would do, fly on Iceland Air or whatever. And I remember we were once in Nuuk, N-U-U-K in Greenland. And I remember that. And I think I was 4 or 4.5. So it was just, my first trip, I guess, was Ireland. But
Del Boy is asking a very interesting question there, or he's saying grappa is good in coffee. Listen, this is how they do it here, right? They do a thing called razzantine, which is a little rinse. So you have your espresso, but if you look inside the cup, the little espresso cup, there's residue of the coffee. So in order to rinse that off, they throw a little grappa in to rinse it, and they shake it a little, and it cleans it out, and it turns the grappa all coffee colored, and then they shoot that.
That's the crema that lies at the bottom of the coffee. The crema is pornography to me. Like a beautifully pulled espresso when it's got like that stuff at the bottom. You just want to take that little demi-tasse spoon and you just want to.
It's the equivalent of doing scarpetta, which is taking a piece of bread to wipe your plate clean with the sauce. Right.
Or same it's like thing. When you have too much cocaine and you go to rub it against your gum.
I wouldn't know.
Me neither, but I've seen people do it in movies.
By the way, scarpetta is considered indecorous.
Yeah. Paul does it all the time, and I always go, ugh.
Yeah, because you got all that beautiful pasta sauce still on the plate, and you want to scoop it up with the bread. It's beautiful.
I mean, you got to do it. I know. There's a lot of bad things. It's like, eating.
Oh, fuck. Oh, you removed yourself. Add to stage. There you go. You're back.
I didn't do anything. I'm not even touching anything.
That's weird.
That's weird. You guys have seen The Crown, right? You did watch some of The Crown, right?
Yeah, I've been watching the new ones now.
Oh, man. Is she unfucking believable?
I'm in love with that one. I'm in love with her from before The Crown.
Not be.
I the film where it's the wives of all the gangsters and they all get together.
Yeah,
she's in it. I was in love with her since then.
She's 1,000 feet tall. She's like 6'4".
Yeah, but I like it.
Yeah, I know you like.
I mean, I like all different shapes and sizes. But if she's got, it's more a woman. It's like having more money in your wallet. It's the same thing. It's more.
Right. It's a black card.
Longer legs to run your hands up. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
But anyway, there was a scene in the new version where the queen is eating something, and you just watch the way that their table manners. It's like we're all pigs. The way they eat.
Not my family, because that was drilled into us.
Well, us
we had
too,
that
but
the British etiquette thing.
Right.
Drilled
My
in
father
by
used
my
to crack us with
father's
forks,
side of the family. Yeah, no elbows on the table, chew your
elbows
food,
on the
blah blah blah,
table.
all that stuff. Yeah,
Now everybody's got their
the forks
fucking
and the
cell phone
knives.
on the table. You know what we didn't have the other night with Nathaniel? There was no phones on the table. And it wasn't like a
Oh, that's
rule. Just
nice.
nobody did it. Until like the end of the night when we were there for 3.5 hours. You need to check to see if, people think you're
if
dead.
the world is falling apart.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Right.
other than that, it was just conversation, which is
Mhm.
great. And Elizabeth Debicki, holy shit. You don't ever think it's not Diana.
Yeah.
You are immersed in her.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I just got one episode in, and it's looking great as always. They're great.
It's unbelievable.
It's great TV.
But I gotta say, they do a lot of stuff in there, and I don't know if any of that's true. What kind of creative license they're allowed to take? I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but I'm like, what? Did that happen? Anyway,
Really?
tune in for that, kids, because it's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. It is the great quote of the evening. Ireland will achieve its first ass ever.
That's right. You have to say arse because it's Ireland, right? It's first arse. Oh, Declan, have you seen it? Quick, down the pub. Look at that. And there's a group of fellas and they're all looking at it and they see an actual girl with an arse. Because
girls, when the leg goes up and the arse goes like.
Yeah, there's like a thing because in Ireland it's all legs and tits.
The leg just goes up into the back. That's
back. A broad back, and it's a broad back, because her dad's a fisherman,
right.
Irish girls are sturdy.
Yeah,
they're not.
The Italian men like the Irish girls because of the eyes. Irish eyes are smiling, right? All Irish eyes are smiling. The bright blue and the green, the bright green. Yeah, and the eyes can be quite hypnotic. Irish eyes.
Sure. Meanwhile, because we have them, you like the darker variety. I love dark eyes. I think it's sexy as fuck.
I like when you have a little bit of both. There's a girl I'm talking to for the past few months, and actually she's Albanian Israeli of all things. And
that sounds like a great combo.
It is. She's breathtaking, but she has kind of like that whole, it's not dark. She's not dark, but it's exotic, and she has like bright green eyes.
Wow.
And it's mesmerizing to look at.
Sure. Eyes are the windows of the soul.
Look at Michaela, who comes on our show on Monday.
Oh my God, her eyes
That's
are
fucking
crazy.
Hypnotic. I mean, half the crowd are falling over themselves.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
I have to moderate that chat and go, no,
slaps on hands.
It reminds me of that Alec Baldwin skit where he's talking about where he meets Sean Connery and they're at a party and there's like some champagne going around and he goes to grab it and his wife goes, no, Sean. Then the canapes come around. No, Sean. Because he's, got high blood pressure and cirrhosis, and his wife Micheline is not allowing him to do any of that stuff. No, Sean.
Doesn't look like it's going to be much of a party.
No, right. That
was the end of it. Yeah.
Doesn't look like it's going to be much of a party.
Much of a party. It's good. That's exactly what he said.
No, Sean. No champagne for you.
No champagne. No caviar, Sean. No. Oh, God. Meanwhile, this is the woman that people have said he beats her. She runs his life. Or she ran his life.
Oh, yeah.
Because remember, because you said in Playboy magazine, I see no problem hitting a woman.
Yeah,
giving her a good slap, a good smack.
Oh, God.
Right? Yeah, it's like,
that didn't age well.
That did not age well. He said it's
like
Scott. 74. Fucking funny. But no, Sean, that's the best one. It doesn't feel like
Movie Dirk sounds like Father Ted when he does his art. Which Father Ted? Like Ted?
This. Yeah, which one?
That actor is saying, it's gone. As long as it's not Frank Kelly. Drink. The drunk father and the drunk priest in the corner, who's a brilliant comedian, by the way. He has a history in Ireland of amazing comedy over the years. But his only role in Father Ted.
Is it Column?
Drink.
I haven't seen that show in 800 years.
Father Jack, that's it. Father Jack. Thank you, Delbo.
Look at that.
They're right on the money.
They're on the money.
That crowd in here are just
top, they're a whole other level of smarts.
Oh yeah,
Smarties. Did you eat Smarties when you were a kid?
I did.
You loved them, right?
They became M&Ms when I moved to America.
Oh, but they're not the same.
No, they're not as big and wide.
Yeah, they're just not the same. And they came in that great tube with the little metal cap on the end of it. Right. And then you could turn it into a bank when you were done because it had a slot.
Oh, that's right.
Very cool. Smarties. Irish chocolates are better. They're just better, people.
I had my ma sent over a kind of a Christmas box with an Irish pudding, with the Christmas pudding and everything.
Oh, she made a Christmas pudding, and you got it this year. She
sent them around the world. We all got them. All the kids got them.
Wow. I remember when it took like 6 months for you to get it, and you still had it.
Yes, that's right. That one, there's still half of it left in the same cupboard, and I could probably eat it.
Oh, don't,
because it survives forever. No, it doesn't, dude. It's made out of whiskey and Guinness. The thing is, it's gonna age like honey. It's got 50,000 years in it.
All right.
By the way, they don't know how long honey lasts.
No,
they haven't been able to measure it. They estimate 50,000 years, but it could be forever.
It'll be after the nuclear holocaust. That honey, cockroaches, and Cher. That's what'll be left.
Yeah, and the Rolling Stones.
Oh, and the Rolling Stones, right? Or whatever. There's only 2 of them left, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because what's his name? It's Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, and you're talking about the guy from the Small Faces, who's not
the
really
other guitarist. He lives in Dublin.
Yeah, but he's not. I mean, he's the new guy. 50 years later,
he was in Ron Wood.
Ron Wood was in the Small Faces, right? He was in with Rod Stewart. Is Mick Taylor still playing? Oh, okay. Eddie says Mick Taylor is still playing. I did not know that.
Wow.
We knew a girl. We don't know her very well, but she's in the Rolling Stones now.
Sasha?
Sasha.
Yeah.
She sings, "Right Matter. It's just a shot away."
Still the most beautiful black woman I've ever seen.
She is unfucking believable.
And I've met and spoken with Rihanna, who is unbelievable. Because our connection there, who produced her live and so on. Yeah. So we got the whole introduction, the whole thing. That was a stunning, beyond stunning woman. But Sasha Allen, holy shit. Do you remember she got up on stage with us in Ulysses downtown?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, is that? And she had already had 2 kids by then. I'm like, oh my God.
I was like holding her place, and she thought I was hitting on her. And I was like, oh, honey.
Oh, honey.
No.
Wrong meeting.
Yeah. She's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. She's so gorgeous. Her skin is crazy.
Yeah. The lips, the eyes. Oh my God. The cheekbones. And her
great.
singing ability was fucking outrageous. What did she sing with us? I can't remember what song we played. I can't remember.
I don't know.
But I didn't know her and never actually spoke. I never exchanged even 2 words.
I just had one exchange with her, and I was introduced to her, and then she said something like, "I'm married." And I was like, "Girl, please." Me too. And that's him. Yeah. I was like, I complimented her. I said, "Oh, that was a great set." I said, because she was at the same little stand-up table we were. And
that's annoying when a woman, like, any sort of compliment she takes is like, "Oh, you're after me." I've been in those shoes.
It's where your ego. It shows you where your ego lies. If you think that everybody's out for a taste.
Yeah, it's like, come on, can we have a conversation?
I think you should be flattered first and angered later. I think if it goes to a place that's uncomfortable, sure. You should. But first, any kind of like, I'd give Kevin Spacey a half an hour to cut that out too.
Get your hands off me.
I'm going to give you half an hour.
You just grab his hand off your knee.
You just say, Mr. Spacey, I'm not that kind of girl. Mr.
The last time I was hit on by a gay man was in New York. Actually, no, it was here, but that's a different story.
In Italy, wow.
But in New York, and we were in the back of a taxi, and he's a brilliant, brilliant person, amazing. I have a lot of respect for him. But I think because we were hanging out all night with him and another fella who's gay as well, but also a fucking incredibly powerful guy in the music industry, I think they thought, does Oshin play both sides, whatever? And he put his hand, on my leg. He put his hand on my thigh and rubbed it down to my knee and give me a little pinch on the knee.
Is he an older fella?
No, he's around my age.
Because that sounds like something a dirty old man would do.
A little younger, actually, maybe a couple of years younger. And I said, I had a bottle of whiskey in me at the time. I was like, dude, if I was playing for that team, it would be a great night for us both, but it ain't happening. Sorry, man.
Wow.
That's okay. It's a simple mix-up.
I think you should do your homework before you. I think everybody should at least have a good in before they make a move on.
It's hard to know, though. You have to. It's a guessing game. It's like wondering: is a person married? Is a person? Do they have a boyfriend, girlfriend? What do they have?
Married is more fun.
I didn't have any weird feelings. I was just like,
no.
If anything, I took it as a compliment. The guy can bring any dude home. But,
did you see what I bought last night? What I got?
Oh, you got your. Oh, yes, that's a huge one. Look at that.
Is it huge?
You don't even leave. Yeah, you don't need to leave it on that long. You can turn it off now so we can actually see it. There you go.
Why is it not reacting? Can you see it?
It's reacting. We just the light's too bright. You're getting addicted to your loom.
Yeah. You know what the greatest thing about this particular model that the Z Blue doesn't have?
What?
That 3, 6, and 9 are green and everything else is blue. It's 2 different color looms.
Oh, what? The Z Blue has that? No, it doesn't.
Z Blue doesn't have that. It's all blue.
Oh, but you have 2 different kinds
I have 2 different looms.
What are you talking about?
So now you can see it. So
no, they all loom up blue.
No. The green, the 6, 9, and the 3 are green. And the rest of them are blue.
I did not know that.
Yeah. The green, the orange indices glow green.
That's new information to me.
Yeah. It's just this
I didn't know that.
Just the black one.
I didn't know that Rolex played that game at all.
Yeah.
Omega do it a lot
in
the recent iterations. Since 2018, Omega have been toying with green and blue.
I don't have a let me see if I can get it on the camera. Oh, look at that.
Your cameras, yeah. They
it.
all look blue from here, man.
No, it's green.
Adam Banks says Dirk is correct. I did not know that. Yeah. That watch was sitting in my house for 6 months and I had no
never
idea.
Loomed it up.
Never loomed it up. Maybe I did once. I don't know. I didn't notice.
I mean, it's very subtle, but if you do it at an angle, I mean, it's incredible. Like right now, looking at it, I mean, bright blue, and the 3, the 6, and the 9 are very green.
Wow.
Yeah, and the hour and second hands are blue. Everything else is bright blue. It's crazy. Really looks mental. I've been looming everything. I've been walking around looming everything. Yeah. I've been looming.
By the way, it only needs a second, just so you know. There's a theory, there's a certain bunch of people out there saying that doing that with one of those UV lights damages the loom, or
it doesn't. I read about it. Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah, it might be bullshit.
You can't tell. My Speedy.
No, your camera's canceling it out.
Yeah, that's all right.
Because I think it's matching with your green screen. You have a green screen going. Yeah,
I do. I actually have an.
It's identifying it as green, so it's canceling it out. It's okay.
I could. I'll do this because it'll be fun. Actually, it probably won't work. Yeah, nothing works. I've actually not been able to do anything on StreamYard tonight since the show began. I went to go pull up a chat and it wouldn't let me.
Oh, you should just tell me. I'll do it for you.
Man. No, I'm just saying there's I've got some software issues that I have to figure out, and I think it's my camera app I think it's the camo.
It might be that.
Because I've actually, usually I'll pull up a chat and make a comment. I have not been able. I'm not actually able to touch anything on the computer.
Oh man,
You
gotta get it all fixed.
Yeah,
you've got a show to run weekdays.
I know. Weekdays. Dirk weekdays.
Anybody watching who's not abreast of this new information, Dirk is going to do the Eyebashers himself solo show for the weekdays. So Wednesday will be the big Eyebashers, which is what you're watching right now.
Yeah.
And the other shows will be Dirk
solo. Eyebashers classic.
Yeah.
Can you pull up Del Boy's last comment? It's really funny.
Yeah, let me go look for it. Del Boy, the loom identifies as green. I should also do something you didn't do last night, probably because you were having difficulties, and that is to send everyone the link for the Eyebashers.
Yes, I didn't do that. Yeah,
that's okay. It's okay. You were having some issues. That's what happens.
Like I honestly can't click on this screen at all. I hit show, nothing happens. And I know that the second I shut the camera app off, it'll go.
So there is the Eyebashers channel, guys. Go over and sub. That way you get yourself a nice dose of Dirk every evening.
Yeah.
Between 5 or 6 or 6 and 7, depending on
we'll be there
what day
tomorrow.
Of the week it is. Yeah.
Tuesdays was first. Tomorrow it'll be last.
What's on the roster for tomorrow? What are you going to talk about?
I'm going to have a special guest on.
Oh, nice.
We're going to talk about. I'll post a thumbnail so you all know by midday. But we'll be on there tomorrow at 5 o'clock, 5 to 6 daily, except for Classic Wednesdays, which is Sheen and I doing the Classic Eyebashers.
I like that, Classic Wednesdays.
Classic Wednesdays. That's what it is. Classic. Somebody had said earlier, and I can't scroll back. They said, "Could you please post that first Eyebashers episode?" And they're talking about the ones from the early noughties that we did. And guess what, kids? They are available, aren't they?
They're somewhere.
I have them. Didn't I send them to you?
Oh, you did. I could post them on the podcast.
I think we'd all get a fucking kick out of it because we probably all have higher voices because it's 20 some odd years ago. We sat in his kitchen.
I probably have a higher voice, and you know what? We probably talked about the same exact shit we're talking about. We're probably talking about immigrants in New York.
Jews.
We're probably talking about the problem in Israel. We're probably
Palestinians.
We're
fucking immigrants.
Are we going to talk about that? Can we say anything about the hostages being released? I mean, it's great to see. It's like a historic moment to see that kind of exchange happening. No matter what side you come out on.
Once they get all their kids back, they're just going to level the fucking place.
They're going to rearrest them. All the prisoners they gave back because they were warned not to celebrate at all.
Yeah.
Because then they'll fucking rearrest them.
Yeah.
And all those poor people are hugging most of them are kids coming out of that prison. They're all going to get blown to shit. That's that.
That's what we have to say about that.
Yeah, there you go. You got it. You can tell where we stand on this.
Yeah,
just from that. But there is a shift. There's a shift in the narrative, coming in real hard on social media, which I think is incredible.
Just goes to show you, though, what the whole world is saying. Bibi's not listening.
Yeah, did you see a previous prime minister was what's his name? Not Ariel Sharon. He's dead now, I think.
Dead.
One of the other previous prime ministers asked for the resignation of Bibi because of his far right.
He's the Trump of Israel. They love him.
He's beyond that.
He's beyond that.
I'm digging Trump lately. I'll tell you why. And
he's
people
fun.
know I'm not. No, I'll tell you why. He said two things. All this shit is coming up now. Trump said a couple of things that were interesting. He was in one interview. I'd love to pull up the links, but it's late and I'm not in the mood.
Yeah.
Well, he's he's being interviewed by some Fox News guy. And he goes, well, you think we're so innocent? Like, what as American we've bombed a lot of people. We've bombed a lot of people. Oh, well, you take a look. We bombed a lot because Trump is he was against the invasion of Iraq, because of the weapons of mass destruction that never existed. He keeps saying that. So that's quite progressive and
totally
quite
true,
right? And then there's another one that has resurfaced of him after he visited Israel. He came back saying, Bibi doesn't want to make a deal. I thought he wanted to make a deal. He doesn't want to make a deal. And, Trump is all about the art of the deal, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, I always thought that they want to make it. Bibi doesn't want to make a deal. And I was like, oh, shit. Maybe that's why he lost the election. Maybe the covert hand, if you believe in that bollocks, right? That's a classic trope, of course. But Bibi doesn't want to make a deal. Oh, shit.
That's all he wanted was the deal. He doesn't care about the other stuff. He wants to go down in history as the guy that did this, pulled off this deal. Because that's what he does. He's a businessman.
He nearly got there in North Korea.
Bushes.
He got farther than anyone with North Korea. I mean, I know he met that lunatic, but at least he got in the same room with the dude. Like, listen, I'm not a Trumpster
to us, though. He's a lunatic to us.
Of course. I'm not a Trumpster, but you know what? Sometimes the guy, it's like Andrew Tate. Sometimes he says shit that is like, oh, he's fucking right.
Yeah. So does Jordan Peterson. So does the what's the guy's name? Shapiro. I agree with a lot of the shit that guy says, but I would love to punch him in the face.
Not right now, man. You don't want to watch that guy, right? Not right now.
I'm not. I know when to lay
that guy's about to he's about to scrape October 7th into his forehead with a fucking blunt spoon.
I know.
Like it's bad. It's bad. Like that was the beginning of this problem. Of course not. But
yeah, but it is to him because that's all. La 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 la.
Yeah.
La 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 la.
Yeah, I'm on that side, and I don't want to hear anything else. I know.
Want to hear that.
I know, but now I'm thinking that because Biden is so completely controlled, obviously answers to that side, and we've seen it now. Despite the ridiculous, horrific footage we're seeing coming out of Gaza, which is it's shaking the world. It's shaking the world more than as much as 9/11 has shaken the world. Just seeing these kids getting flattened and fathers holding their babies in their hands and stuff.
For what?
It's just unbelievable.
What?
I'm just thinking, like I'm at a crossroads right now because I Trump was always a problem for me. Now I'm thinking, you know what, Trump, get back in there now and fucking fix that if you can with your his lack of decorum and his lack of nuance that we all know Trump for. I mean, I know that he's
saying it just might be the medicine we need right now.
That's kind of where I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I might eat my words because he did move the embassy to Jerusalem, which was an incredibly incendiary move to make. So that wasn't cool.
Hits and misses like everybody. Listen, there is a reason why Donald Trump is popular among so many people. People
fucking says it as it is.
Says it as it is, and they like it. People.
I'm just feeling like he might get back in and go. We got to get rid of Bibi. That's it.
That motherfucker.
And the way
he can't say any of that shit because the Mossad's watching us.
Bibi was fabulous. He did was fantastic job, but he's got to go. And he'll just fucking say it.
Yeah.
This is why people love Trump because they're like, what? He cuts through the bollocks sometimes in the worst way, but many times in the worst way. But it's like I feel like if he was in power,
like a child. I don't like her. She's ugly.
Yeah, she's ugly.
Yeah, he just says shit that no one will say.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah. I didn't say that about every woman, just Rosie O'Donnell. I peed in my pants because she was full of shit. My Tommy. Remember when she was madly in love with Tom Cruise? Her show was all about my Tommy,
I missed that one.
Oh, well, she had a chat show early in the 90s, and it was very popular. She became America's sweetheart,
right?
Who loved pussy, but nobody knew about it.
Right.
And, she was pretending she was in love with her cutie patooties and Tom Cruise. And then, she's really kind of like a mean lesbian who's very funny and very talented. I just don't like where her politics go. But Donald Trump, when he said that about her, that was the fucking funniest shit ever. That's like when he goes, China.
China.
Yeah,
why did you call it the China virus? Because it's from China.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's kind of fucking
true.
All
the good ones are all from there. because of pangolins. Did anybody know what a pangolin was before COVID? Did anyone know? I didn't.
Okay, so you've just touched on a thing I want to say. And
Go.
this is like I told you so shit.
Yeah.
I was watching Oppenheimer and I realized that I used to quote Oppenheimer and talk about Oppenheimer's bomb for years in political discourse, and people didn't know who I was talking about. I'd be like, well, ever since Oppenheimer's bomb, the world changed. Now, this is me going back 15, 20 years. And people would be like, who are you talking about?
They were just knackers, though, right? Back then.
No, they weren't. They were even, I won't say intellectuals, but all sorts. And now everyone knows who he is, which is great. You know what the biggest one for me was? Osama bin Laden. When I remember having this big discourse in New York with friends in New York. And I was like, well, you guys, Osama bin Laden is the biggest threat. And so people would be like, Oshin, you're such a fucking commie, sympathist, fucking weirdo. Who the fuck is this you're talking about? You don't even know these names. I was like, you don't know about the number one guy on the CIA, hit list? No, how do you know these names, you weirdo, you fucking sympathizer, blah, blah, blah. Of course, the day after 9/11, now everyone knows his name perfectly. It's like I'm coming into a new world. Like everybody learns about the shit, It's like a watch brand that no one can pronounce, but all of a sudden they can all pronounce it properly. Like it's like a weird awakening.
But Jenny L says Rolex.
She goes Rolex.
Rolex.
No, that's the proper R for over here. Rolex. Yeah, it's beautiful, actually. It sounds great.
Rolex. I don't know. I don't like any guttural voice sounds. I'm not a big fan of that.
You don't like when the guys on social media say the genocide that's happening in Gaza. They don't say Gaza. They say Gaza.
I don't like any of that. Yeah. I mean, it's a big thing.
Or when they mention Hamas, Hamas. You see, they always say Hamas.
I mean, I like a plate of hummus, please. It's like whenever you're watching a newscast and they're like, today what happened in Harlem? Until then, this is Janine Ramirez Halekejo. They have to go overboard with the pronunciation of their name. This is Janine Ramirez Halekejo.
I like it because it's like a splash of water in the face. It's like, oh my God, the world is massive.
We get it. Right.
The world is massive and it's
is
so full of amazing culture.
Canada.
Meanwhile, if you go to Ireland, all the old Irish pronunciations.
Oh, it's the ugliest. It's ugly. Oh man, it's not.
Can you count from 1 to 10? Do you know any Gaelic?
No, I don't. No, none, zero. No.
Do you want to hear 1 to 10 in Irish?
Go do it.
A hen, a do, a tree, a chachar, a chuig, a sé, a seacht, a nocht, a ní, a dieg.
Yeah. There you go.
Do I sound really far? Do I sound like a terrorist?
It's
right now?
Erse. It's it's ugly. It's ugly.
8 is ocht.
Arabic is ugly. Israeli, Hebrew is ugly. They're ugly languages. Sorry, kids.
And so is Gaelic, apparently.
Gaelic is hideous. It's so. They're not pretty. You know what's pretty? French, Italian. They're beautiful. German's not beautiful either. So we went through the flags last week. Remember ugly flags? Languages. What's a pretty language? You know what?
Yes.
French is beautiful. Welsh is weird, Eddie.
Unless it's some poncy asshole at a restaurant.
Well, there's that. English is beautiful when spoken correctly. It is. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful language. And you know what? Other than Italian opera, like if I'm hearing a pop song, if it's not like Spanish, everything's tu corazón, mi corazón, tu corazón, mi corazón. Either that or they just have no good lyric writers in the Spanish world.
You know what my favorite language is? English.
Oh yeah, well, it's because it's beautiful.
It's
when it's spoken beautifully. When you hear,
and I know Italian well, I know dialect well.
Yeah,
if you have a great command over English, it's one of the most wonderful things. It's an incredible language.
Incredible language. I could listen to all the greats. Brian Cox could have been that guy, but he's just doing cheesy shit now. But you watch Patrick Stewart,
Scottish Glenfiddich.
That's Erse also. All the Erse languages, they're ugly. They're ugly. They're ugly. Well, actually, English comes
Is
from
it?
French, doesn't it?
It's funny, all that, back of the throat stuff going on.
Yeah, it's all. You learn that glottal used to when you go to a voice teacher. You learn how to get rid of all that glottal shit that's going on in there.
Yeah.
There's exercises to do it, But I mean, I love Arabic singing. That shit's beautiful because it's all Eastern scale and great. But when you hear like a cab driver yelling at somebody in an Arab speaking world, it doesn't sound very pretty. My guitar player from my solo band, Khalid, he speaks every language under the sun. The guy's so smart.
It's
He
funny.
speaks Arabic.
It's funny how the sound of music though can change a person's perspective, because like this, I've got a lot of stuff in my feed, of course, of the problem going on there, and some of the most heartbreaking videos have this Arabic singing in the background, and I'll remix it on my Instagram, and I'll put in like Beethoven, or I'll put in something
along with the singing.
No, I'll remove the music
track,
and I'll put in the something
How do you
that
do that
is
with
more
AI?
relatable. No, I just do it on Instagram. You can remix the video. You remix the video, and I'll put in something that in our world, in the Western world, is more translatable. And then all of a sudden it grips people, because there's a cultural divide. Seeing some little poor boy shivering in a fucking hospital in Gaza or whatever, and when you hear some, Middle Eastern, Arabic music, probably the racism, or at least the racist divide, or the race divide, I should say. It's not a hatred. It's just not relating to what you're looking at when you've grown up on classical music, and in Hollywood and so on. You see, tragedy is always accompanied by beautiful classical music with violins. So I'll do that. I'll add the violins, or I'll add the Mozart, the Beethoven, the Rachmaninoff or something, and all of a sudden, for the Western mind, the image is much, much stronger. It's a thing that maybe they're not aware of in the Middle East, that they're trying to appeal, of course, to the Western world to cry for help, but they're doing it in the wrong way. They need a producer there going.
They do. They need a producer.
Yeah,
it's like Indian. They need a producer.
Use the Moonlight Sonata. Now we're there.
That'll change everything, won't it?
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Okay, we're well over there. We're 2 hours 20 minutes. I think that was a nice eye bashers in the can. I'm gonna lose loads of subscribers and get lots of hate mail as usual, but part of the fun. Part of the fun.
You don't give a toss.
I don't care.
You don't. Hey, you can't handle the truth.
It's a great line.
It is. And I don't even like Jack Nicholson, but
actually, my favorite line in that scene is not "you can't handle the truth." It's the one afterwards. He goes, "Don't call me son. I'm an officer of the United States military, and you're under arrest, you fucking lazy son of a bitch." It's great. It's Tom Cruise's line.
Tom Cruise's line, yeah. It's good. Who directed that? Is that is Carl Reiner, right? Or Rob Reiner?
Man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it Rob Reiner?
I think it's Rob Reiner.
Powerful movie.
So powerful. Another one, Demi Moore's in that. She's great in it. I'm a fan, but everybody knows that. I like her.
Another iBashers is in the can, guys. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you all next week. Dirk, we'll see you tomorrow evening. Is that right?
Night. Tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, 5 to 6. Dirk weekdays,
which is
classic Wednesdays.
10 p.m. UK for anyone over on this side of the pond. 11 for me.
Right.
Great stuff, man. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, gang. Bye.
No.
Oh, and you left. Look at that. Look at that shit. Can I close this? Leave site.